Space, the final frontier. This is a review show for Star Trek The Next Generation. Its continuing mission to explore interesting plot points, to seek out goofs and continuity errors, to boldly go where no other TNG review show has gone before. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the TNG review show.
It's live, Jim, but not as we know it.
It's live, Sean. Not as we know it. Yes, we're back for another episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. My name's Montalban, and I am your host this evening. And this is the TNG Review Show with my co-host, Mazima Bob. Good evening, Maz. Tabby Gins-Turner. Good evening, Tabby. And Chief Sean. Good evening, Sean. And I hope you're all well this evening. It's warm here. We're going a bit casual this evening. We're kind of on shore leave partly, and we're just suffering with the heat of the day. So Mazima, Bob, and myself are in civvies.
Yeah, I figure if Picard can spend the whole episode out of uniform, why can't I?
That's right. Yeah.
That's my excuse.
We've been.
Plus, Montalban says this looks like something Kira might wear.
It does, though, doesn't it?
When
she takes her top off and she's got that white top underneath.
Yeah, it's got
got these crisscross things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's your Bajoran earring? That's what
I know. Don't have it handy, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So how are you this week, Maz?
Yeah, I'm good. Work's mega busy, but other than that, I'm good. Gearing up for my week off next week. Very exciting. Going to London with Stu Plum and Lindy Hop.
Yeah, off to London. With my daughter as well. You're taking my daughter, whisking my daughter away to London.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll enjoy it. Be a good decompress after all her GCSEs.
Yeah. We got good news this week. My daughter's got an apprenticeship lined up now when she finishes school.
At the same place that Montalban works.
At my company, where I work. So, she's coming to join me. The poor thing.
I remember her telling me like about 3 years ago that that's what she wanted to do. So it's great that she's got exactly what she wanted.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we're really thrilled, pleased for her.
How excited was she then?
She's pretty excited. She doesn't like to talk about it because she gets embarrassed because we start making a fuss of her, and she's a teenager, so she just goes all like, "Oh, stop making this stuff! Oh, stop making a fuss." But yeah, we're really proud. Yeah. Yeah, so she's going to be a fellow software engineer. So yeah, good luck. Good luck to Anna. Good evening, Tavikins. How you doing, Tavi?
The second I mute my mic and put food in my mouth to munch
Monty,
entire
Monty
episode.
misses career as a dentist or a waiter. Just wait until your mouth is full.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is there food?
I'm doing great. I evicted all of my sprouts that were attempting to take over my kitchen. So they're all in the greenhouse. Most of them have survived transplant shock. And I'm just really happy to have a kitchen where I can see the floor and window unobstructed.
Were your sprouts acting like tribbles? Were they just going pop, pop, pop,
Oh,
pop, pop,
my
pop?
God. Full tribble.
I
don't have enough space for them even in the greenhouse. I have to just put them in the dirt somewhere in the aisleways.
I actually thought you meant your children when you said sprouts. It was only greenhouse in this weather.
Planted your children in the greenhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And good evening, Sean. How you doing, Sean?
Evening, Monty. Yeah, all right. Busy with work. Very hot. And look, month till I'm off for 2 weeks plus a bank holiday. So looking forward to that. Plenty to do.
Very
But
nice.
yeah, just kind of running the clock down at this stage.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have some time off. I was say, everybody got their blood wine this evening. I've got a Chardonnay straight from the fridge, so it's nice and cold.
I've got a Prosecco straight from the fridge. Then I'm gonna pop. Hopefully, it makes a nice loud bang, and it doesn't hit the light. Oh,
I'm ready for it. I'm waiting.
Oh, I'm scared.
Oh,
Gosh.
crap! That really hit the ceiling. And you got tall ceilings as well.
Yeah, no holes, fortunately.
Wow.
And Tabikins, it looks like you're drinking car oil.
Yes. Gin called Engine.
Engine.
Pure organic.
Whatever.
Engine.
I'm finishing it off. It tastes like gasoline. Or turpentine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's horrible.
You're selling
when
it
you
well.
mix it with things, you can't even mix it into anything because it immediately turns whatever you're mixing it into the worst cough medicine flavor you've ever had in your entire life.
Well, there goes our gin, our possibility of a gin sponsorship.
With all your gardening, you can also get an old juniper bush going, and a little bit of wheat. You distill your own gin. It's easily enough done.
Yeah.
I might have to get into that. Along with
Junipers. And let us know in chat what you've got this evening. If you've got a coffee or a beer or what it is, let us know.
What's Sean drinking?
Homebrew.
What's Sean got this evening?
Yeah, homebrew red.
A homebrew red.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. There's a weird. I don't know if you see this. Look, there's a heart button on the chat thing. What's that all about?
Yeah. It makes like a little heart come up on the. Let me.
You can now put like live
it makes it
emoji
float up
stuff.
on the screen.
Oh, how comes I've never seen that there before? Is that new?
Because it's new.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's there not long. Yeah,
uh,
it's not giving it to me for some reason. All right.
how do I get rid of it? I don't want it there.
I don't know.
Maybe if I just drag that out.
Let's all just hammer the crap out of the heart button.
I could just drag it out to the side there. Look, maybe I don't know. It just annoys me. It annoys me being there. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll leave it there. We've just got a little heart in the corner of the screen. That's fine. Okay, so this evening we are here to talk about the inner light. Unfortunately, G-Star was going to come with us this evening. Unfortunately, his partner, or his husband even, LJ, has been taken ill again, really sadly. So he's back in hospital, so he can't make it this evening. But we wish him well again, and we're just counting down to the time when he can have his procedure, operation, and make him better.
Get all better.
Yes.
Yeah. Hearts to LJ.
Hearts to LJ. Oh, you can stick hearts.
Yeah.
You can stick hearts in the chat now. Hearts to LJ.
Oh, yeah. Hearts to LJ.
Hearts to LJ. So we are here to talk about The Inner Light, episode 25 of season 5, the last regular episode before the season 2-part finale. It is production number 40275-225, and it first aired in the US on the 1st of June 1992. It was the 124th episode to be both produced and released, and the teleplay was by Morgan Gendel. It was their first of 2 that he wrote, the second one being Starship Mine. And he wrote this with Peter Allen Fields, and this was the 3rd of 3 episodes that Peter wrote. And it was directed by Peter Lauritsen, who's a sort of prolific Star Trek man, behind the scenes, co-producer, producer, just basically the man behind every series of Star Trek from the first season of TNG up to the end of Enterprise and the TNG films, kind of like behind it all. This was his first of 2 directing gigs for TNG, the second one being Gambit Part 1.
And they had originally, or I think it was Michael Piller initially had an idea for this sort of plot back in season 4, and it took a long time to come to fruition. They teased around with a few ideas and couldn't really make it work. Like I think him and Brannon Braga, Joe Manofsky, they were all trying to make it work and couldn't. And then, as you say, Morgan Gendel pitched this idea, and it was going to originally be relating to a civilization that was wiped out in a war and kind of tackle some sort of, genocide or Holocaustal type, topics. But obviously, they eventually went down the kind of climate change, or the sort of sun going nova rather than bringing kind of war into it. But it took a good sort of couple of years for this story to come to fruition.
You guys, Sean, Ruth, and Stu Plum, let us know what you got this evening. If you got a blood wine in hand, let us know. And I see Ruth is going to be desperately clinging on to her bronze medal in the quiz this evening. So I wish you luck, Ruth, and I hope the wheel of names goes your way, and you get plenty of bonus points.
If I throw the quiz, does that mean Ruth overtakes me and then gets a bronze?
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference in points is.
There is one bonus question that probably won't have a wheel because it's who's closest to the right answer. So we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Cool.
Okay. Right. The first picture. I gotta bring up picture. Bring up the picture.
I've got to get exactly the same score as Stu. Okay, Stu, we'll have to try. We'll try for Ruth.
Yeah. Oh, you have to get.
Okay, there'll be a new season next week.
Right. Fingers crossed then.
That'll work. Well, then there's still the bonus questions that's going to throw you off.
Yeah.
Hello, happiness.
Mr. Tavakins is in the house.
Hey, Mr. Tavakins.
Tavakins.
I hope you're well, sir, and I hope your beard is especially voluptuous tonight.
It's melting off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just realised I went to shave my hair and shave my beard this evening and realised that I left all my toiletries down the holiday home. So I've got none of my normal trimming things. So Yeah.
Ah,
So a bit like
Little
Picard in this
Tufty.
episode, I've got a bit of hair, which is unusual for me. Okay, so we are going into the teaser. In this episode, it opens with a captain's log, where we learn that they have just detected an object whilst conducting a magnetic wave survey in the Parvenium system.
And after they flush that captain's log, they can get on with the episode.
They can get on with it.
nice.
Yeah.
Is that a dad joke? I guess.
A little bit of a dad joke, yeah.
Yeah.
Tavi has us tuned out. She's not...
Yeah. Mr. Tavikins is finally taking his beard to the shower today. And, yeah.
Yeah, I shaved like 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a hairy person, thankfully.
So there's the probe. There's a picture of the probe. Just put that in there so you can see what it looks like. And then Data informs us. We get our face first and one of the only Data pictures of the episode. I try to put a few in for you, Tavi, so that there will be a couple. I'll try to fit them in when I can.
Thank you, so.
Yeah. Data informs them.
We're looking at the D. I think you might have the wrong screen displayed. Yeah, but we're not looking at data. That's what you meant us to look at.
Oh. What have I done?
We can't hear you, Tavi, my darling.
I said I'll wait. I will definitely wait. Stop the show. Look at that D pickup.
I am confused and this is weird. It's not showing my other tabs.
Oh no.
Just press
Close down browser.
press Control Shift T. Control Shift T. That undo close tab is that shortcut. So if you accidentally closed a window, it should bring it back.
No. I can see it on my screen.
Okay.
I'm clicking on them here. They're here as far as I can see, but the thing's not sharing it.
All right. Can you minimize that inner light window or?
Bear with us a minute. Can you just fill for a minute, Maz? Just tell us something about the teaser.
Yeah, that'll do us.
Okay, so apparently Gendel revealed that the episode's title is a bit of an in-joke. He called it The Inner Light because he liked naming things after random B-side music tracks. And there's a Madonna, like Ray of Light or something. So yeah, but it ended up keeping the song. He also had like another episode that he wanted to call, it was actually Starship Mine. He wanted to call it Revolution, which is after an obscure Beatles song, but they already had an Evolution, so they didn't want to have a Revolution. But yeah, in this case, the name he chose did stick.
Well, there's an episode Kobayashi Maru, and an episode called Maru, just to confuse things. And also, there was a proposed sequel to this episode, which is never made. I don't know if you have that in your notes.
The Outer Light.
The Outer Light. They're going to laugh out of me.
But it did get taken up as like a Trek novel, like a short story or I don't know if it was a graphic novel or something like that. So yeah, they did use the idea anyway at a later stage. And the other like rando bando fact is that during the making of this episode, Rick Sternbach drew on his script some preliminary designs for Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I think there's a picture online of him, like, you know, with his sort of sketches all over the front of his script. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine used to look very different before they finalized the design. Originally, the kind of arches were full loops, kind of a bit like the Yorktown base in Star Trek Beyond. They were full 360-degree loops, and also they had the promenade used to have a little train on it, so you get off, you'd hop on a little train and you get off. They got rid of that. They thought it was too cringy, but they had it in the plans originally.
Yeah, I mean, there's a picture of it, but, you know, it's a bit difficult to make it out, to be honest. There's also stuff in his sketch that's related to this episode, like there's a telescope and some other things. But yeah.
I don't know what to do now. This has never happened.
Can you do one picture at a time?
Yeah, it would just be a little awkward. So
Yeah.
because I have to literally stop sharing and then share it and then share that. And so
I was thinking, right.
Because no matter what, this is like frozen now. Even if I close this tab, it still shows the same thing.
Oh.
So I don't quite know. So this was the picture I was showing when I was saying the probe that they found. And then the next picture, the picture of data. So I guess I have to stop sharing, present, share, reshare that window.
Oh, that sounds fairly awkward now.
I'd have to close the entire tab, reopen a new browser entirely, and then grab the picture, open it in that browser, and then share that browser.
Maybe we'll do without pictures this week.
I have to do that every time. It just doesn't want to work.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
Well,
that's
maybe
gonna
just
be
do one
far
or
too
two
tedious.
pictures per act.
I've got an idea. Anybody in chat knows how to use StreamYard, then please. I could share a Chrome tab.
Oh, yes, you could.
That's just the Chrome tab, though. I'd have to stop sharing and share it every time. It only shows that particular tab.
How many monitors do you have?
Oh, I could make it full screen and share the entire screen.
Because
You
you
could
can
take
do
a data photo and leave it on the screen.
Yeah, if you go into OBS and you set up display capture and you set it to one of your monitors, it'll show whatever's on that monitor strictly.
Yeah,
and you won't have to keep sharing and unsharing.
OBS, I'd have to go and rearrange all my windows and things.
All right, that doesn't suit. All right, we'll just have to leave it on data. So,
well, I can do it like this and have it. I can have it like that. Does that work?
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, pretty much.
Look how concentrated he is.
It's just going to be like ultra widescreen type because I've got wide monitors.
That's fine.
Okay, we kind of got there, I think. Just got to do it like that.
All right, sorry for delays, folks.
Yes. So, okay, data informs us that it's some kind of probe composed of pericium and talgonite that appears to be holding course along with them. Then Worf announces it's emitting a nucleonic... Oh, God.
Nucleonic.
A nucleonic beam. Where's my picture of Worf? This is all going wrong. There we go. Worf announces he's emitting a nucleonic beam, so Riker orders the shields to be raised. It penetrates the shields and hits Captain Picard, with Riker telling him, "It's all right, I've got you," just as Riker image fades out. Here's Riker's image fading out. And is replaced with a smiley, happy lady. There you go. Picard wakes up sorry, go on, Terry.
That scene right there. Usually Star Trek episodes don't get me as far as like the acting alone, but the scene in which he gets zapped, he does this thing where he like jerks his head and then they put the camera on him where he starts stepping back. That was the most fabulous acting that I'd seen in like in a few good episodes here where you didn't need dialogue, and I'm like, oh, what happened? What? But it really sucked me in. I was like, oh my, Jean-Luc. But I love that sequence he did before he laid down. It was his acting skills really were shining in that bit. Just to start off with.
Yeah. That's very cool. I just realised my chat box was hidden, so it wouldn't have been updating, but I've made it come to the fore again now. So there we go. That's better. So Picard wakes up. He tries to end the holodeck program because he thinks maybe I'm on the holodeck. So it's like, computer end program. But no, he's still there. So he tries up. He tries his comm badge. Oh God. No. He stands up. He tries his comm badge, but unlike us, he's not wearing one. So that's no good either. It's disappeared. Yeah. He asks the lady who's smiling at him, who calls him Kamin, what this place is, and she replies, "Why, this is your home." And that's the end of the teaser.
You're the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker.
Yeah.
All right.
His
So go
outfit's
for
quite
now.
fetching on him, though. He's got well-muscled arms for an old dude.
Even in his 80s, the guy is still ripped now. He doesn't look much different, really, considering he's 30 years older.
There's some scene later on when he's doing his little hike. Dude's veins was just all up out of his cut. I'm like, damn! Data, I'm going to put you on pause for a minute. Damn! It was looking good. It was looking good.
So, question 1. What system are they completing the magnetic wave survey? Is it A, Parada? A, Paresis, B, Parada, C, Prevenium, D, Pentaurus, E, who cares, we got a D pick, then a Data Master, today is a good day. And the bonus question, the field uniform Picard is wearing is first seen in what episode?
Okay, let's get the first one out of the way. With that. And then the first episode.
Where's the one with the jacket, you know?
Yeah, the grey top
field
with the it's sort of semi-casual sort of.
Yeah, and the ribbed kind of leather.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Oh, Tarikins, I think might have just beat me to it.
Oh, you too? Oh, good. Same brain space then.
Well,
That was not what I was doing, yeah.
I remember because it was slightly different in that episode. It had more leathery, shiny shoulders, where then they replaced it with a like cloth-like ribbed shoulders afterwards. So that's why
it could be a different suit from the gray
Well,
one.
I'm accepting it as being the same one for the purposes of the question.
Yeah.
I would imagine just the shiny PVC pleather kind of stuff, just with the lights and things, just didn't work. The studio lights are getting bounced off it. You're getting little squares of light on it that you shouldn't be getting. So probably why they changed it.
The one with the gestures. Yeah, Dharma, that's what she meant. Yeah, well done, Ruth.
Was one on Misa. Yeah, Dharma.
That one.
Actually, see, I have a light here, but this badge is actually shiny, so if I hit it at the wrong angle, it shines right into the camera, so I have to keep turning it off. The real ones on the set were all weren't really metal, because if they were, you get bad reflection off them.
Yeah, like these. Plastic. Like,
Or, this one happens to be
it's like
this
an
one
acrylic,
happens to be a metal one.
Acrylic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else from from the teaser that we didn't cover? Whilst I was padding, you probably covered it all.
Apparently, there was a deleted scene at the beginning of the script where Picard discusses with Fleet Admiral Gustafsson with the on the report for their magnetic wave survey when they arrive at Starbase 218. So that was taken out. Right. We mentioned about Deep Space Nine, and the final thing is that the actress who played Eileen there was also in an episode of Deep Space Nine. The character was Rin, and it was season 4, episode 18, which was called Hard Time, and that was the episode which is kind of ironic, really, but it's the episode where O'Brien is given false memories of like 30 years of imprisonment or something, and he also then comes and has to adjust to being back home and trying to remember what his life was about. So it's odd that they used her into two quite similar episodes involving
that one was a little bit darker, though, to be fair.
Really
straight up gets a phaser right up and under his chin, sets it to vaporize. Yeah, that one went dark.
I just wonder if when they were coming up with it, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's like that one, with Picard in," and and that had a good actress in it. Who was that? Oh, maybe we should get. I don't know. But yeah.
It's like in Voyager when they wanted to cast Tom Paris and they wanted a Robert Duncan McNeil type, and then they auditioned 30 people, and eventually they just decided to get Robert Duncan McNeil. That always cracks me up.
She looks fantastic today, actually. I looked her up, and photos of her, considering it's been like 40 years or 30 years or whatever, she really doesn't look any different. What's her name again?
She's got such a lovely cheek line. She's called Margot Rose.
Yeah,
yeah, she's just got quite a striking facial structure.
Yeah, she looks almost French. She's got kind of like the cheekbones and stuff.
Yeah, she looks just as good. Doesn't look that much different now at the age of 65 or 68.
I think she's kept herself trim, and just as I said, she's got strong cheekbones, so the shape of her face hasn't changed much.
Yeah. So yes, well done for her genetics. Okay, Act 1. And we're kind of working now. This is working. It's kind of weird because I haven't got all my screen space because it's just this massive picture. I usually got loads of windows open, you see, controlling things, but I kind of lost the entire screen. So it's a bit weird. But anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Act 1.
Well, go on. Just before you go ahead, I was going to say, I was telling someone about my home office setup, and the guy is a software engineer. He runs his own company. And basically, I said, "Oh, it's grand. You know, I've got 2 monitors, and the laptop is a 3rd monitor of a good setup." And he goes, "No, that's never enough. I've got 4." He's got this kind of quad setup, you know. I was like, there's always someone big. There's always a bigger fish, isn't there?
There's always a bigger monitor.
Giant curved wraparound thing that looks about 4 screens big.
Yeah, well, I've got just the 2 there plus the laptop one. So, but he's got kind of, as I said, 4 like 2 by 2 in a square, kind of the size of a 50-inch telly. So, yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Picard is confused about his surroundings and asks if he's a prisoner, which he isn't. He then exits the house to find a temperate Mediterranean type society. Looks very nice, I think.
Yeah, and in no way like a village we've ever seen before.
I've never seen it. No.
Not at all.
But look, it does look very nice.
Looks as hot this year.
Yes, yeah. They're as he walks around, he realizes they're conducting some kind of tree planting ceremony with a community leader telling the people that they plant this tree in defiance of their ongoing drought. A bit like England, then, really.
Picard, hosepipe bomb be damned.
Yeah. Trying to remember a time when we weren't in a hosepipe ban. But Picard confronts the man and demands to be taken to his ship, which shocks the poor chap. Picard plays on his fever suffering and makes the man introduce himself as Council Leader Bataille. Bataille tells him that he's been ill for over a week and that Elaine, is it Elaine? Elaine, his wife. Elaine, his wife, has been looking after him. The community is called Resic, and the planet they're on is Kataan. It's kind of weird. He's like, so what planet am I on? And it's a bit weird for an Earthbound or planet-bound race. It's like, he looked at him like,
it's like saying, what year is it? It's just it's not a question you should be asking.
Yeah. So he leaves Bataille and walks around the community and then walks around the local area and realizes that it's not a dream. Kind of is, but he convinces himself it's not a dream. Good evening, Wookie. It's good to see you, sir.
That scene where he's looking fit. He is looking fit.
Yes. This shot was redone for the HD remaster. The matte painting of the village here, it looks quite a bit different.
Yeah, it does look very Greek or maybe Spanish, more Greek than Spanish, but
it definitely looks sort of Mediterranean, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
There
White buildings, small windows.
There are a lot more larger buildings in the original matte painting, so they reduced it down, made it look a little quainter, and they superimposed some people walking about and made it like come to life a little bit. So it does look better.
Was it you who said to me on the opening crawl, when you see people walking in 10 forward, is there like a little... Did they use a paper man or something and just pull it across? Or there was something really low tech like that they did.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember now. But you see people moving. Go, look at them moving, and I think it's just literally a little bit of twine and to like cut out men or something like that.
Wasn't it animated?
Sorry?
Wasn't it animated?
No, it's not animated. It's some really low. Sorry, not 10 forward. I meant the observation lounge. You see people moving in it, and there's a trick to it that's really simple, and it's not quite coming to my brain, but I'm sure it will later in the episode. Sorry for derailing it again.
So at the end of the day, he arrives back to a worried Elaine.
Before we do leave this picture, though, did you notice the continuity error here?
Is it his hat in his hand?
It is his hat, yes. 1 minute he has it in his hand, and then from the front view he has no hat at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the disappearing hat.
The reappearing, disappearing hat.
Yeah, bald men can't go anywhere without hats. It's the thing. I'm sure Monty knows.
That's just too plumb.
I don't actually wear hats. But,
don't you? You just get a big sunburn on the top of your head and you deal with it.
Yeah, just deal with it. Yeah, just deal with it.
All right, fair enough.
I get too hot. You see, if you wear a hat, there's nowhere for the heat to go, and my head just gets too hot. So yeah, I don't wear hats.
Fair enough.
This shot when he comes home and Elaine here is worried, it made me laugh because you can see like the IKEA furniture here where they've moved the knobs.
Yeah, like just a standard chest of drawers, basically.
It's a standard chest of drawers there. And instead of having the knob there, they've unscrewed it and they've drilled it in there.
Although they've and similar with the park bench they've just cut a few holes in it. But they're following they're half following the rule of Star Trek, which is you never see like light switches or, they kind of have those little illuminated things, and I think they do something. But they even though it's supposed to be an old society, they didn't put in light switches or basic electric functioning.
No, I guess it's supposed to be like the I don't know what's equivalent of us.
Well,
I guess it's like the 1960s.
given they're putting their first probes into space, it's around the 60s by our time frame, I suppose, roughly. But then again, some part of their technology is the 60s, some part of it is 200 years in the future. So who knows?
I wonder if they sent a probe like the Voyager series or something like that. Sorry, I'm going off topic now. And it's traveling out of their star system. And the star goes supernova. I wonder how far the probe has to go out before it survives. Like, I wonder how far a probe has to be away from a star when it goes supernova to have survived it. Because they've only got a generation, haven't they? Because sorry.
It depends on the speed it's traveling at, I suppose, and relative things. There's a weird thing where, there's a theory of space travel that basically it's advancing in such a way that if we had mentioned suspended animation and say they send you to, let's say they send you to Wolf 359, which is a light year away, so it should take, let's say, 5 years, and you put you in suspended animation. By the time you get there, your children should already be there ahead of you because the technology, more like 50 years, but the technology will have moved on. So 10 years after you left, a ship that's 5 times or 10 times faster than yours will have traveled there and actually beat you to it. Just the way tech goes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, think about, the computer they sent you to the moon in the 60s was about 1% of what your phone can do, compared to what we have now. So, it's just the leaps and bounds that happen with technology.
Anyway, that's those interesting drawers. Just wanted to point them out. So that's the only reason I brought this picture up. So he's really tired because he's been walking around everywhere, and Elaine gives him some hot soup from an interesting looking bowl thing, soup dispenser. It's horny.
Yeah, it's a standard Oh, feck, I forget the name of it. But yeah, you know, you put the hot water at the bottom, a soup tureen.
Yeah.
You know, to keep it warm. But it just stuck a horn on the side of it to make it look alien. But the inside of it is you put the hot water in, you
pretty
put the
cool.
steel in, you put the soup in the inside. Yeah.
Yeah. I quite
You
like
never
it.
know. Someone could have actually sold that commercially at the time. You never know with these things.
I'm pretty sure we see that again in Deep Space Nine or something like that.
I would imagine we do, yeah. Turned upside down or something.
Yeah. So yes, Elaine gives him some hot, delicious soup, and Picard indeed does find it delicious. He asks her if they can communicate with other life forms from other star systems, and she looks at him completely like nonplussed, perplexed about what he's asking. And but he does find out that they have communication network called a voice transit conductor. So he wants to use it the next day to contact their leaders at the capital. He finds out they have been married for 3 years, and he is an iron weaver. And he plays the flute, though not very well.
I'm always wondering when she just says all these things about him. When he goes back to work, does he know what he's doing, or does he have to fudge it? Like can he make that role?
He's got not a clue. He's Picard, isn't he? He doesn't know. No idea. I guess he's about to find a different career.
I don't know what that was the second bit of acting that came in here. I wanted to taste that soup so bad. He made it sound like it was so good. I'm like, damn. It's like, well, can I get a bowl?
He was happily slurping on it, wasn't he, during the conversation? So I was like, oh yeah, it looks good.
I do like a good soup, I have to say.
It's super.
Oh my goodness, no.
Sorry.
Soup and a bit of brown bread. Oh, do you well.
It was actually a deleted scene. Where was it? Yeah, it was a cut scene. Sorry, it wasn't deleted. I think they maybe didn't film it, but where she prepared that soup to his delight, and it's called Kainome. But I didn't end up actually finding out the name of it in the episode. Kainome.
Oh.
Or maybe it's Kinome. Don't know how you pronounce it.
Or maybe it's Kino. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wookiee, you'll have to wait till the end of the episode to find that one out.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't really. It's difficult for me to see chat tonight because I've had to rearrange all my screens. So if I miss chat, you guys are going to have to field chat a little bit because I can't quite see it.
He was asking what happened to the dude that Picard replaced in this. Nothing happened to him. Just his memories were copied, and someone else lived through them again.
Yeah.
He lived a normal life, and presumably
he
he died
didn't actually
before
physically replace someone.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's like
he didn't travel through time. He just had memories imposed on his brain.
Yeah. So yes, she leans forward, beckoning him to come to bed with her, and he sees her necklace, and it looks like the probe that took him here. Meanwhile, all this is going on. Although hours have passed for Picard on the bridge, Riker has just informed sickbay that the captain is hurt.
I don't know if you have the next shot on from that, but Riker's just given a full face full of crotch, like straight like teabagging Picard. It wouldn't be the way, and I'd be leaning over someone. He's doing the Riker lean like right over his face.
I don't know if I can.
I wouldn't go looking for it, but it's,
no,
it's about him.
No, I haven't got that at the moment.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of Act 1.
All right, let's do some questions. So what is the name that Picard talks to in the courtyard? Is it A, Bukai, B, Batai, C, Broik, or D, Braxton?
What was A?
And
Bukai.
Bukai. Huh.
Yeah.
Bukai.
I'll get you to talk you through the board in a minute.
No.
Yeah.
And the second,
I think I know all of those.
Do
you know what's weird? I looked up this actor's name earlier, and then I watched a Trek Culture video that just came out today, and they just mentioned him by name again. It's funny the way, you don't think about a name for decades and decades, and then twice in the same day it comes up. So Sean Ferrick called him Richard Reilly. I'd assume it's Richard Reela, but either way. Richard Reilly is also featured in the episode Coal Station 12 from Enterprise, that is. But in that episode, who orders his death? I will take the character's name, I will take the actor's name. Once you're right. So Coal Station 12 in Enterprise. Puts him into a torture booth, exposes him to all sorts of viruses.
I'm going to go with...
and he claims not to have the passwords, and then the person who does it to him says, "Does the light in your office still flicker?" And he goes, "Yes." And then he realizes he's being lied to and throws him in the booth and exposes him to like all sorts of viruses and things.
This is a complete and utter guess.
Don't know. Yeah, I've just gone with a total guess. Oh, you guessed the same as me. Anywho, while we're waiting for answers to come in,
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh no, I was looking at your guesses and going, yeah, I guess it was him, because who orders his death, or
who orders his death? Yeah, not who presses the buttons on the console. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know that's fine. We have answers. Go on, Mazza. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the Resicum flute was chosen for its photogenic ability because sort of a lot of flutes, you know, they would be out the side like this, and they thought it would look better having it almost like a recorder, I guess. And the composition for the Resicum flute became one of the most requested pieces of music in the Paramount Pictures library.
But I'm not saying it's the direct influence or anything, but the Irish tin whistle, which is basically a flute, it's just called the tin whistle, is played exactly like that. So, and it sounds very much the same.
And you know, we mentioned that this is G Star's favorite episode. After this episode, he bought himself a selection of tin whistles and created some music on them. He loves the music.
Nice.
So yeah, that was really cool. And apparently the flute actually appears in a deleted scene from Star Trek Nemesis where Picard and Data are discussing the crew going their own ways, but it was deleted. But it does come, you know, would have come back into it then.
It comes back in Picard.
Yes, yeah, that's true. And it also comes back in, I can't remember now, the one where the lady with the keyboard.
Yeah. I forget the name of the episode, but I know exactly the one you're talking about.
It'll come to me in a minute. I think I've got it in my notes somewhere. Yeah.
All right, so I think we have enough time there, so I'll give out the answers. The answer was Bataille. Anyone know who Buck Bataille is?
Yes, he's the baseball player that Captain Sisko and Jake like when he gets manifested in one of the series 1 episodes of Wishes Were Horses. That's it. Yeah.
Broik?
He's a Ferengi.
He's
one
a Ferengi waiter. Again, in
waiters.
Jesus.
And Braxton.
He's a what do you call him? Like a time police guy, the one who
he's a
29th Voyager. Yeah.
29th century temporal agent. Yeah.
Temporal agent.
Captain
That's
Braxton.
the thing.
Well
and
done,
Richard Reilly was Tavi is correct. Arik Sung. It was a Brent Spiner question. Fair play to you, Tavi. If you didn't get it, I would have serious questions about your devotion to the Mr. BS.
I thought
no wheel needed. Tavi has it. Nobody else got it.
Yeah. The bonus questions are difficult today.
Yeah.
I thought the Darmok one was quite handy. I mean.
We didn't spin the wheel for the Darmok one.
Oh, we never. So we didn't. Sorry, you got distracted with your screens. We never did.
No.
It's yourself and Tavi for Darmok. I don't see anyone else. Sorry, Ruth as well. Ruth is in there too. Yeah.
Ruth, Monty, Tavi. Is that it? Ruth, Monty, Tavi.
That's all I see there.
I am spinning the wheel.
Yellow!
Come on, Ruth. Come on, Ruth. Oh.
Oh, Tavi's got the spin of the wheel. He's got the look of the Brent.
Could be Tavykins
Right.
night.
Ops gold.
Yeah. Okay, on to Act 2. I think as well, just this episode, for me, the bridge scenes look a bit washed out. They look a bit bright and washed out. I don't know if it's just me, but yeah. Anyway,
Maybe it was because they were shooting on I presume they'd have different cameras, but
Yeah,
maybe
I
they were
just-
shooting on location and the settings were wrong or something. I
I
don't know.
personally think it's just the last two directors were like quite like dark directors, you know, that put some more
Okay.
atmospheric lighting in it, and this director just likes quite brightly lit sets. But it just seems a little bit brighter than it's been recently. Anyway,
But I remember in reading there's like a book of the making of the first season of Voyager, and they were talking about how the costume department kept getting annoyed. They kept redying the uniforms every week, and every week every time an episode came out, they got annoyed because they never looked the way they liked, and they kept changing it. But they found out later, like it was being corrected in post production to look
Yes.
the way that the post production people, the editors, wanted it. So they kept changing the colors, and then someone else kept changing it back, and they were like, "Why is it not looking as red or as green or whatever it was?" So yeah, there's a lot of hands in this, both on set and post one, and more so now than it was back then.
do you want to give yourself some bonus points, Maz, for clearing the board of all the answers?
I was about to say who got the spin of the wheel for the second question. Oh, sorry, it was just
there's-
Tavi,
there's
wasn't
just
it?
Tavi.
It was just Tavi again. She gets
Tavi,
both
you
of them.
got
Yeah.
it right. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I could spin the wheel, but it's a bit anticlimactic.
And now I'm being stupid.
Well,
You could always put the void on. You could always put the void, put Wookiee on the other side, and then no point. It's like black hole. The points.
Well, we could also play the game, which we didn't do the last day. Was if it's a no hitter, then everyone gets put on the wheel.
Okay, we can do that.
I gotta watch those
yes.
Enterprise episodes again because I haven't seen Audix soon in a little bit. I gotta see that.
Yeah, that 3-parter is probably the best part of Enterprise. And I was watching Strange New Worlds this week. It's freaking better than I remember it was. Jesus, it's fantastic.
Sadly, I think I watched Enterprise when it came out. I think that was it. I don't think I've seen it since.
Season 1 and 2 are better than you remember. Season 3 is absolutely
I think
awful.
I'll watch Enterprise now, and where I was sorely disappointed and just generally down on the whole thing, I think I'll probably watch it now and think it's amazing.
Yeah, season one or 2 are great. Single compartmentalized one-off adventure episodes, much like early TNG, much like the original series. It's fine. Season 3, they do the series-long time arc. It's awful. And season 4, it's not as good as I remember, but it's so much better than season 3 that it comes back and it has some real gems, including the 3-parter with Brent Spiner.
Yeah.
Which unusually for a 3-parter, all 3 episodes have different names, but it's kind of confusing. Told Station 12 is one of them. One's called The Augments and one's called something else.
Act 2. Crusher arrives on the bridge with Ogawa and Martinez in tow and discover that Picard is undergoing some tremendous neurological activity with his neurotransmitter levels going off the scale. Ready? Data.
There you go. Thank you.
Data reports that they're unable to block the probe, with Worf telling them that they should just blow it out of the sky. But, of course, Doc and Riker don't think that's wise, as it's currently interfering with Picard's brain box. Riker orders the Enterprise to move away from the probe, but the probe follows them, move for move, leaving Crusher to believe that it and Picard are tethered together somehow. The genius that she is. Back on the planet, 5 years has passed while they've been shenanigan around, and Picard is now working...
Arms!
Hey, look at those arms. Yes.
Dude, it's cut.
What do we think of his longer hair?
Prefer it shorter.
Yeah, it doesn't... He's right.
It doesn't
The long hair
him
does
look
make him look older, doesn't it?
Mm.
In this episode, he kind of gradually turns into Scrooge.
Which, ironically, he also played in a film, or
Yes,
was it
true.
was it a TV show? A short. Anyway, he played Scrooge on TV, I think.
Yeah. 5 years has
Coincidentally,
passed.
not ironically. Sorry.
No. Picard is working on what is causing their ongoing drought. Despite time passing, he's still holding on to his past, and Aline is losing patience with him now and wants him to let it go so they can start a family.
The technology is so weird in this episode. As I said, they have missiles into space, which is just 60s. They've got sextants, which are 16th century. They've got electricity, which is 18th or 19th century. I know.
I was thinking the same when you were mentioning about the the light switches.
My brain kind of caught back up on itself, and I went, it doesn't. Yeah, they've got electricity, but they're still using sextants, and it's a bit. I know they have a telescope later, but your Galileo had telescopes, and he was in around the 1500s. So, it's a bit inconsistent compared to where it's normally done.
The only thing I could think is that they might be in a really rural place.
That would make sense. There's no cars or ever mention of them ever going anywhere, or buses or planes. So, you have to have missiles into space. Strange one.
And then you've got to understand, like, even with different societies on Earth, like the ways people in which the ways people like in civilizations advanced have a lot to do with the beliefs and views of those peoples, because there are a lot of ancient like lost civilizations that had some pretty advanced stuff, but they didn't have light switches or anything else when they clearly had the equivalent knowledge, or at least what we would say, to create something like a light bulb, but it just wasn't something on their roster. Like, no, this is fine. So, but they advanced with some very, albeit it might have been like a primitive device or whatever, but it was still very advanced for what it was, comparable to what we're trying to do today. And some of them are even mysteries that we can't solve. So, like when I see this, I actually liked it when I saw this mishmash of technology. That it seemed about right. Like it doesn't follow our string of technology.
Okay, that's a fair point, I suppose.
Yeah, I kind of
Ruth
see.
says she likes it for that. The fact that
Yeah.
it doesn't, conform to our expectations makes it feel a bit more alien.
Yeah, that's a fair point, I suppose.
It can be that their planet's rich in certain elements and things that ours isn't, so they come to building certain technologies first, where others that are obvious to us because we've got those elements in abundance, they don't develop because they don't have it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Maybe they didn't find coal and oil like we did, and their society developed in a different way. I suppose it's completely possible.
And they did say in the beginning of the episode, even their probe that they sent out in space wasn't metallic; it was in ceramics. So I mean, it's just these slightly different forms of advancement. In their area being like in a very Tuscany area, you can see they would have the ability to manufacture probably some very advanced ceramics instead of like metal alloys.
Yeah, and I suppose in our society we started out with metals and kind of advanced, plate ballistics and stuff, and all that kind of stuff is coming later. We're still developing those things now. So the materials were different. Yeah, it might take longer, but I suppose it's possible they could go in that direction.
And they managed to produce a probe that can outmaneuver the flagship of the Enterprise and send a mind beam into
with chemical thrusters. Yeah,
with chemical thrusters, and it can send a mind beam into the captain through Federation standard shields. So. It's pretty impressive what they achieved in those few years.
But I mean, it could also be something very, very simple that they're very good with. That just isn't compatible with what the shields would have experienced.
In Stargate, the Asgard, the little green men. Sorry, Stargate reference. They basically they run up into this problem that they can't solve, and they come to the humans because they go, we're so advanced. They basically boils down to, we're so advanced we can't think in a stupid enough way to come up with a simple solution. To which Colonel Neil goes, so you need us to be stupid? It's like, you may have come to the right place.
Basically, bang bang boom boom, and they fix it. I love Stargate, by the way.
But like if you have a planet full of astrophysicists, sometimes you just need a carpenter. You know,
Yeah.
they'll do a better job of it.
Wookie's talking about Carl Sagan and
Yeah. Yeah, we've gone on to physics.
Michio Kaku. I have no
Harry
idea.
Dantzoff.
Let's talk about.
Oh yeah, he's a like Japanese American physicist or
Yeah.
American Japanese.
Yeah,
He's American, but Japanese family.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he has a very impressive head of hair.
Yeah, he's got this big white head of hair. He looks like a bad guy in a Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He does.
So,
He looks like
Or an anime character.
like Shang Tsung with white hair. That's a pretty cool guy.
I like listening to him though. I have to say he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoy his stuff. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Mr. Badass over here, is my favorite, but he's good too.
Yep. Yep.
Or what's your man from D-Room? Brian Cox, he's good.
Brian Cox.
I love Brian Cox. I have the biggest nerd crush on that guy.
Yeah, I saw him live.
Yeah,
this
well,
year. It was pretty good.
Well, Monty probably dropped a few E's on a dance floor, listened to one of his tunes he was playing keyboards on back in the day. He was in a band back in the 90s.
It's hilarious.
Didn't Stuplo. That wasn't me.
He was in a band back in the 90s. Had a big hit.
Things can only get better. No, I'm not going to go there. Right. Okay. So, where was I? Oh yeah, Bataille arrives and bring Kamin to the words coming out of my face hole. Bataille arrives to bring Kamin to visit the administrator to talk about his idea of atmospheric condensers to help through the drought. But Picard asks Elaine if she's going to come with them, but she says she refuses because she's not happy with him. Because he's spending too much time doing his own shit. They meet with the administrator, who's perplexed at how a tree is surviving in the middle of their town, and Bataille explains that everyone gives some of their water rations to its survival, and it keeps everyone's hopes up. Picard and Bataille outline the atmospheric condenser plan, but the administrator rejects it for being unsustainable, but agrees to pass his idea on to the council. This is democracy in action.
I just had like a little bit of a regenerative farmer like annoyance with this. I understand when the show was made and that it did make sense, but I'm like, for people who are dealing with a drought, you see that they use no mulching to hold any moisture in the ground on anything. And I'm like, why? Why did you not mulch the tree? You just lost water to evaporation by not mulching.
If you're going to put a tree there, at least make it an apple tree or something that will provide, some sort of sustenance for the community, not just like a tree.
Yeah, like it hasn't rained.
Back.
It hasn't rained properly here for about 20 days, or roughly 3 weeks. It's have a little bit here and there, and like the plants are suffering. The grass is going yellow in the fields. Like it's amazing how quickly, the fact that the idea that say it goes on for years. Ireland isn't built for that certainly, but I think most of the world isn't either. And like if you go a month without water, like serious problems happen.
Yeah.
We got rain today. I'm pretty sure the farmers here are so happy we done the rain dance and shaman calls because they were sweating out here. The fields are yellowing, and this is these people's livelihood, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Okay. So Picard realizes it will never happen. His idea of atmospheric condensers is dead. But Bataille is pleased that this is the first time that Kamin has talked as though he is now part of the community. Have we talked about Bataille?
Well, I mentioned he was in Cold Station 12. He also played Seamus in Fairhaven, and there was another role who's gone out of my head, but he did play another role.
Yeah, so he's played a number of Star Trek characters, hasn't he?
Yeah, he can't do an Irish accent.
His acting career is prolific.
Yeah, there's like
I've seen him
over 400 acting credits.
411.
I looked through
credits.
it. I didn't even see the Star Trek ones, but I think that's just because I was paging through for so long. I missed
Yeah.
it.
He's been in Enterprise,
Yeah,
Deep Space Nine, or Voyager.
Yeah. I was going to ask what episode
Two
did he first
Voyager,
appear?
two Voyager, two Enterprise.
Seamus
Yeah.
in Voyager. And the answer was going to be Fairhaven, which is kind of a half trick question. But I went for the Coal Station 12 one because Brent.
I mean, he's 76 or something like that now. He's got 17 different projects in post-production waiting to go live, you know?
Yeah, he's a little bit younger than my dad, but not much. Yeah.
He's still
So he's
working
75. He turned 75 last month.
hard. Are they? Yeah. He's still. Anyway, right.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. So later that evening, Bataille and Kamin are enjoying a drink, whilst Kamin plays Frere Jacques on his flute. Bataille is surprised that Kamin's playing is actually improving. He's pretty good. Elaine sends Bataille home, and she tells Kamin that this is the last time she is putting his shoes away and apologising for nagging all day. But then Kamin apologises for being a crap husband and says it's him that should apologise. He asks her permission to build something, and she's like, well, you're always building everything. Build what you want. He says he'd like to build a nursery, which surprises Elaine, who is overjoyed at the news. He tells her if she doesn't want a nursery, he could build a porch. He could start that right away. But no, she definitely wants a nursery.
I don't think they have carrots in this society.
His acting in that scene was really, really good as well. When he just flows over to talking about if I could build something else. I just really liked how clean that acting was. And secondly, dude had a chick drop her ovaries, be like, oh, so I'm gonna help you build a nursery. I'm like, dude. Okay. And you got to admit, she's been waiting for 3 years trying to get up on it.
Oh my!
Oh yeah, I'm like, I was like, oh damn, I want to build a nursery with this man.
Yeah, so it was really quite a wholesome scene. It was like, oh, so sweet. Meanwhile, back on the bridge, Geordi has found the probe has got solid propellant, which leaves a trail, which means they can send a probe of their own to trace where that probe has come from. Ready? Data pick. Data thinks he has a way of disrupting the beam, but Crusher thinks it's too risky, giving the knife wound analogy. You know, if someone's stabbed with a knife, you don't automatically pull it out, you leave it in, because pulling it out does more damage. Riker and Worf want to act, though, so they make preparations for cutting the beam.
So first of all, Data and his fabulously apishly long arms. I love it. Secondly, in that analogy, it's very funny when you think about it. It's like, so technically they pulled out the knife and then they stuck it back in.
Yeah, it is. It
like,
is. And that's what they do. You pull it up, out, and then
Yeah.
the blood goes squirt, squirt, squirt. Ah!
Data took it out. He put it back in. He took it out.
Put
He
it
put
back
it back in.
Oh,
Good time was had by all.
That was
Ensign
the,
Gates is
In,
like,
out,
never
in,
mind,
out,
Ensign Gates.
shake it
Nothing
all
to see.
about.
yep. So that was
It
the
was
end
like a
of the
sneeze,
act.
but better.
Sure. Act.
Okay, well, I'm not going to catch anyone with this one. What did the card ask for permission to build? Conservatory, observatory, stellar cartography, or nursery? I'm not even going to spend time on that because we talked about it too much. Everyone's going to get that. Just give points across the board. Don't even answer that one. So we'll go to the bonus
Everyone
question.
gets points. Woo.
Except
The actor
Wookiee.
Is
playing
that Wookiee? Wookiee
Yeah.
didn't get points.
the actor playing the administrator is later seen as the XO or first officer of what Starfleet ship? So I will say the character's name is Cabot when you see him later. So the administrator, if you go back a screen or two, you might see him. You might know.
It's hang on. This guy.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. He's the first officer with the rank of lieutenant commander in a later episode. Very important role. Although brief, he only has a couple of lines.
These bonus questions are really difficult this evening, Sean.
Sorry, I'm being a bit mean. Well, if it's a no-hitter, everyone gets to go on the
You're,
spin.
you're
so even
supposed to
Wookie.
make the multiple choice question hard. Because
Oh,
then
is
you
that
give
how
us
it is?
multiple choices. And then you make the bonus
okay.
question easier because we don't have the multiple choices to guess.
Oh, okay. I'll do it that way around next week. All right.
But no, it's good. It's good. It's challenging us. It's challenging us.
Although I will say the problem is you have your own script and I'm doing the questions independently. So sometimes I pick a nice obscure fact and then you really lay it on in your script because I don't know what you're what's in your script before I put the question up, and then it what I think is hard becomes very easy.
Yes.
So, yes. Just like that one just there with the nursery, you laid on the point and I was like, all right, well, the moment's gone.
Sorry, Sean.
No, Ruth,
I do
it's
apologize.
a Starfleet ship, Ruth.
Are you willing to give us some more hints to that bonus? Is it an episode after this one or before?
No, it's a later series of Star Trek. He plays a first officer.
Deep Space Nine, isn't it?
Could be something else.
Could be something else. I'm pretty sure it's Deep Space Nine.
Okay, all right. If I told you it was the pilot episode
of Deep Space Nine, Emissary, is it?
Could be Deep Space Nine. Could be something else.
Oh God!
But what's the name of the ship?
No, Ruth. It's a Federation.
I can't. A Federation ship. I can't be more specific without just telling you the answer. So.
Well, while people are figuring it out,
I will say. Oh, right. Okay, fine. I will say he dies in the episode and he has to be replaced. Thankfully, they find a replacement for him.
Sisko.
That should make it easy.
They're fighting the Borg, and he dies, and then Sisko takes his place.
Nope, that's not it.
It's not it?
Nope.
Is it
Sisko's first officer. We have a right answer in the chat.
Is it Discovery?
It's not Discovery. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna have to give it to Ruth because.
It's Voyager.
Yeah. No, I said it was Voyager. He was the original first officer of Voyager, and he was Cavett, and Anyway, he gets killed in the first episode to make room. Convenient, making room for Chakotay.
I see it now.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, that was harder than it meant to be. I really had to.
No, that's good.
Okay, I see your point.
Love it.
It's a good question. I like it.
I'm loving it.
Don't change.
Lately you've had them pretty easy, and now it's like, oh shit, we got to get in that Star Trek deep to get it. I'm sorry, I've got too much guys.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, there's other the medical the original medical officer was reused. The original nurse was reused. The Smiling Vulcan. There's a couple of them. Lieutenant Stadius from something else. I won't go through all the details. But he played Lieutenant Cavett in Voyager.
Right. Yeah, I see it now.
Our Commander Cavett, sorry.
And I think Ruth is the only one that got that right, wasn't she? So
Ruth takes the points. Yeah.
Points to Ruth.
Can I?
Yes, you can.
Can I continue with my trivia now?
Go for it.
Go for it.
So one of the observations of this episode is the fact that Marina Sirtis is not in it. But it struck me that, why the hell wouldn't she be? Unless she was off ship somewhere. If Picard was, caught in a state of being unconscious, you'd think they would immediately get her there to see if she could tell, she could sense anything, whether, his subconscious was okay, whether he was happy or sad or what was going on. And you'd think it would have been quite interesting, actually, because then she could have been at first she could have been oh, he's really confused and anxious. And then she'd have been oh, now he seems content and happy. And, it could have been quite interesting to track his emotional state throughout this ordeal that he was going through.
Can you
imagine? It's a bit odd.
Somebody did the math in another view, and they were saying I think each minute was the equivalent of, or each second or something was the equivalent of 7.5 days or something weird like
that. No, it's
roughly.
He's unconscious for 25 minutes and he lives about 50 years, so it's about 2 years a minute, roughly.
So, I mean, if Troy were there and she had to experience it, I'm pretty sure it would have short-circuited her brain.
She'd be
yeah. Apparently, Patrick Stewart got really annoyed on a season 1 or season 2 episode of Enterprise or of Next Generation, and Deanna had one of those stupid lines like a Romulan uncloaked and like, Captain, I think he's being deceptive or something really stupid like that, and he just snapped at her. Of course, he's being fucking deceptive. What the hell do you think he's doing? But he just these idiot lines they used to give her. But he only ever did it once, and he apologized afterwards. But it was like 11 o'clock at night on a Friday. He was just wound up to the last, going, "Why is this line here? Who's it for?" I'm sensing he's angry with us. It's like, yeah, red alert, the shield's up. Yeah, I wonder why.
That's when you get a Sigourney Weaver moment, and she's like, "This is my one role on this goddamn ship, and I'm bloody doing it."
And Stuart also loved that film. He said someone told he didn't want to see it, and someone said sneak into the back of the theater with a cap on, watch it on a Friday night. And the whole audience were laughing along with it. And he said it was one of his best experiences of his life. He said they nailed it absolutely perfectly. It was exactly like that.
And the other thing I was going to mention was that obviously on one of the scenes that just passed there, where just before he offered the nursery, he was playing his flute. He was playing Frere Jacques, which was a callback to the episode, where he's in the turbo lift with the youngsters.
Disaster.
We had them singing Frere Jacques. So it's clearly a favourite of his, but just nice little continuity callback there.
I think that was Disaster. Reasonably sure.
Yeah.
How do they get in this door? It doesn't have any buttons on the outside.
Well, when she came out there, it looked like it opened automatically on her approach. And I was wondering about that as well, again, with the technology thing. It's like if they've got automatic doors and yet their other technology seems to be a bit further back.
Yeah, there's a light panel on the inside that Picard touched to get out earlier in the episode, but there's none to get back in again. And as I said, they have like those stairs that like something from out of like the deserts in Iraq or something. It's it's a weird mismatch of technologies.
Yeah. Okay, should we go to Act 3?
Yarp.
We shall. Yarp.
We shall. Back on Kataan again. Several years have passed, and Kamin is learnt a new song on the flute. The song we've come to love over the years. They're having a naming ceremony for their second child. It's a boy, and they've named it Batai, named after their late friend who passed away a year ago. They marvel at how their first child has grown, and it's a girl named Maribor. Shush tree. Then, unexpectedly, Kamin collapses. I wonder why. I'll tell you why. It's because Data's cut off the string to his noggin. That's why.
Just pulled the knife out.
They pulled the knife out, which turned out to be a bad thing. So on the bridge, Picard's conditions got worse. As soon as they severed the beam, they try a full cardiac induction, and then Crusher tries a cortical stimulator, but to no avail. Then, quick skip to a Data picture. Data managed to fully... Data, I knew you'd like that one. Data managed to fully restore the beam, stabilizing Picard's condition. On the planet, while all this has been going on, another 10 years have passed, and Kamin is now starting to look his age. His daughter Maribor is now an adult and has found that the soil in their garden is completely dead. It has no microbial life at all, and she questions him about the drought. Kamin thinks that he should have filled her head with trivial things like toys and games rather than devoting it to science. Maribor thinks that she should marry Danek, a man who's in love with her. She should marry him sooner rather than later, and Kamin agrees that she should live for the present and make now the most precious time. Back on the ship, LaForge manages to trace down the alien probe's path back to an unmapped Kataan star system in the Solarian sector. It contains no inhabited planets, as the star went supernova approximately 1,000 years earlier. And that's the end of Act 3.
Can I just appreciate that shot with engineering in the back? That looks like a baseball card. He looks so good.
It's good.
It's nice. It's nicely framed. I like that. Okay, so question 3: what drug does Crusher administer to Mr. Picard? Is it A, dilactavine, B, digoxin, C, desegranine, D, dilaphaline, E, quadrotriticale? And don't ask me to repeat it because I barely got through it the first time.
Whilst people are putting answers in, yes, that song that Picard was playing there, it was composed by Jay Chataway, who did all the music for this episode. And he later expanded this piece into a 6-minute orchestral suite, which is on the Best of Star Trek Volume 1. And it's a song that, in particular, G-Star very much likes, and I kind of learned to play it on the piano at one point as well, which is pretty cool. I think I did a few samples for him to sort of use in something or another. But yeah, it's a good, it's a good tune.
Monty, I think the police have caught up with you.
It's not me.
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
not me.
It's
It's,
my window.
Oh, sorry, it's you, Maz.
That's Maz.
I live really near to a police station, a fire station, and a hospital. The police and fire station are just over the road, and the hospital's a block or two behind me. So yeah,
that explains the birds chirping earlier. Sorry, please go on.
Oh yeah, I don't normally have my window open, but it's just because I'm so friggin' hot.
I can imagine.
Are hot.
Yeah, not that kind of hot. Okay, so the other thing is that not only did Kamin and his family receive old age makeup, but they also slightly aged a lot of the villagers and the extras that were playing the villagers. It's not something I sort of massively noticed, to be fair, but yeah, it's pretty cool that they did that to try and like age the whole village along with him. What else have we got?
Yeah. I'm just going to throw the bonus question in before you throw it.
Yeah.
In this episode, Kamin mentions time being precious. So I'm going to ask you to complete this famous quote. Time is the blank in which we blank. I will say it's from Generations, if that helps. And Sauron says it. Sauron, played by Michael McDowell of I was going to say Chocolate Orange fame, but that's not right. What's it called? What's the film? He's in something orange. Clockwork Orange. I said Chocolate
Malcolm
Orange.
McDowell, yeah.
Clockwork Orange. Clockwork
Okay.
Orange, not to be confused with Chocolate Oranges. He was also the uncle of Bashir from D6-9, which isn't the question. Okay. Sorry, go on, Mazza.
Okay.
Were you going to say something, Tabby?
I just have a regular farmer rant that would... I know this is an alien planet, but I can wait until someone is done because it's probably very strange.
No, you can rant away.
Go for it.
Okay, first of all right.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
They're
I'm
after
gonna
you.
shut
They're
up.
after you, Maz. So just,
I'm looking at... The sound is so clear that I'm looking out my window going, what the hell is happening?
they're after us. They're on to us. Run.
Okay, so she's sitting here, Picard's fake daughter, and they're saying that there's no microbial life, anaerobic bacteria in the soil. First of all, you have to be a complete idiot to lose all of the bacteria in the soil when you have living people nearby. First of all of your septic systems should have been rerouted to not only use that water again. I was like, maybe they haven't heard about Dune, but I'm like, shoot, get a freaking suit on. But I'm going, how do you not have bacteria in the soil? You have urine, you have feces. Why are you not putting this back in your soil and covering it up with mulch? How do you not have bacteria? How is it even possible? Because the second that there's no bacteria, this episode would have ended. You would have died within a year. If the soil was dead, you would have gone straight into Turlina 3. It would have been over.
as I said, we've had 20 days of drought here, and it's well, it's not life changing, but if it was 100 days, that would certainly cause serious problems. They had drought for decades. It's like, yeah, we can't just live in a desert. We need food. Okay, some people can live in the desert because they can import food from other parts of the world, but like we can't all do it. So yeah, it's kind of,
It just doesn't work. And I'm like, how do you not have anaerobic bacteria? I was like, why is there so much oxygen in the soil? I don't. To me.
Yeah, it got bleached by solar radiation, basically.
But I mean, still, I'm going. You guys got these advanced ceramics. I'm like, put a freaking cover on the damn thing.
Yeah. Where's the dome?
Indoor hydroponics is, I suppose, should be possible with 90% recycling of water, but
yeah.
I don't know.
They could have had reflective. They got these ceramics to put shit in space, but they didn't use reflective ceramics to cover the soil of their crops. You don't need a lot of soil. You just need a little bit of that shit.
Yeah, I think hydroponics is something like 10 times more efficient, so you can get a relatively small amount of land or space, and you can have plants growing in water with nutrients, and you can have carp growing underneath it, pooing all over the place, and you have the carp, you have the plants. There's a way of doing indoor ecosystems. We have that tech now, more or less. It's just it's more expensive than just growing it in fields. But if our fields started dying, I'm sure we'd just start doing it that way.
To me, I'm like, these people didn't die because of the supernova or the sun. They died because of stupid.
Yeah, watch the film Don't Look Up. You'll understand plenty.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was really sad.
Yeah, basically a load of MAGA hats going like, yeah, don't worry about it, it's fine. It wasn't fine.
It wasn't.
That was the end of the rant. I'm done being farmed.
And the answers to the questions, sure. Oh, and there's trivia. Is it trivia time? Have you got?
I had a couple more, but we can do answers first.
Pause,
Sean.
Pause, Sean. Pause.
Yeah.
Sean, pause. Pause.
Yes.
Sean, pause.
Pause.
Sean.
Okay,
Pause. Pause, Sean. Mass, go.
It wasn't much. Just Kamin when he's talking to Mirabor about the whole, now make now the most precious time. Now will never come again.
Yeah.
He says the same words later on in Generations, following the destruction of the USS Enterprise, and also it's funny how when they're tracking the radiation trail back to the Solarian sector, and Geordi says, to a planet called Kataan. And then Data says, oh, that's an unmapped system that died when the star went nova 1,000 years ago. So if it's unmapped, how did he know it was called Kataan?
How did they know? I mean...
Because of the board game.
They never contacted anyone else. This is literally a first contact situation. Yeah, they know what they're called. I don't know.
Yeah. In
their own language, no less. But, yeah.
Okay, so the answers is Dalactivine is the drug, and the quote is, "Time is the fire in which we burn."
Yeah. The actual folk,
which is a great quote and one I love. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, from the I quite like the full thing from the poem that quote is from, and it's, "Time is the lesson in which we learn. Time is the fire in which we burn." I quite like that.
Nice.
Nice. I didn't know that was related to a poem. That makes that movie a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it's a poem. It's it's quite a famous poem as well. The end of each, like...
Is it by?
Oh God, I don't know.
It's not that famous.
No, I'm not.
There's a great shot in Picard season 1, and Picard is obviously like thinking his life is over, and he's leaning over the fire, looking into it. And then there's a reflection of the fire off his forehead into a clock that's over the mantelpiece. And like, it's not stated, but it's just, if you know it, it's really obvious that they go, and they literally have a shot of the clock with the reflection of the flames in it. And it's just like, I love it. So good.
So yeah, commonly we walk through this April's Day by D. Moore Schwartz. And each verse, is it you call it? Ends with, "This is the school in which we learn. The time is the fire in which we burn. up to the end, and it's then time is the school in which we learn, time is the fire in which we burn. Quite like it. It's a good poem. I'm not really a poem guy, but because of the reference.
You know that one about the woman from Venus?
Yeah, whose body was shaped... no, right.
Okay.
Whose body is shaped like a... Right.
Boy,
Act 4. Let's get on.
brilliant.
That is. I gotta add that poem line.
Yeah. Many more years...
I just love it, Picardo. He just goes, one of these days I'm going to finish that poem or something to that effect. It's a good one. Sorry, go on.
Act 4. Many more years have passed, and Kamin is observing the stars in his telescope, and he's joined by...
What kind of telescope, Monty Ban? You could probably tell us all about it, can't you?
That's a reflector telescope.
A Dobsonian reflector.
Dobsonian reflector.
Design popular amongst home telescope builders.
Yeah, I've got a Dobsonian
I
reflector.
thought you did.
I've actually got an unboxing video on my personal channel. If anybody wants to see me unbox a telescope, which is, I think, probably slightly bigger than that one, head over to my Monteban YouTube channel, and you can see me wrestling with a massive Dobsonian telescope. So there you go.
It's when it comes to telescopes, it's not the size what you do with it.
Yeah. I'm pretty useless with it.
But with telescopes, it kind of is the size to a certain degree.
Yeah, but that would ruin the joke.
Actually, it isn't. Especially with Dobsonians. Well, it is cool.
Why
to
do they have
a big
those
one.
really massive ones up on the hills that are supposed to be the really good ones?
Yeah, but if you're like an amateur like me, it's better to have a smaller one that has automatic tracking, so you can just zoom in on an object and track it, and then just look at it. Where with my massive wooden monstrosity, it's really difficult to like keep it
something
tracked on something. No, as soon as I've got it, it's gone again. It's really difficult.
I think the problem is that the professionals are getting so good at the higher end of stuff that, you know, there's kind of less room for the amateurs to kind of jump in and do things. Like, they used to have amateurs like monitoring audio traffic from, you know, radio antenna and stuff, and now they just have computers doing it that just spike it, and, you know. Basically the amateur. I'm not saying the amateur is going away, but it's less important than it used to be. I mean, with the stuff that Chandra is doing,
it's actually still huge. I think it might die off now. I mean, they still use a lot of amateur stuff because there are literally like hundreds of thousands of amateur sky watchers all over the world, and they spot things that the professionals will never spot, and then they train the professional stuff on it. But I think that might die out with AI, because AI now...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the AI is kind of monitoring the radio frequency channels, and it's able to pick this up, and they can be trained on previous phenomena and stuff. So there'll always be room for them. But and as I said, the stuff like Chandra and stuff is moving into spaces that the amateurs on Earth just can't follow. You know, it's gone past what we can catch up with.
And for little geeks like me, the first time you train your eye on Saturn, even with my telescope, it being like a tiny little dot in my viewfinder, the first time you see the rings for yourself, you see it there, you know, it's or you see the bands in like of Jupiter in the clouds, even though it's tiny, even from my telescope, the first time you see that with your own eyes is it's all inspiring.
Yeah, it's your telescope. It's a trick.
It's amazing. Okay, so yes, he's here with his telescope. It turns out Aline has recently had an operation, so she's not been very well. In the distance, we hear a flute being played, but it's not Kamin, it's his son, Batai. Aline thinks his playing is beautiful, though Kamin wishes his son would pick an occupation and stick with it, as he lacks focus in his life. Aline thinks that he's now found focus and music is it. Kamin calls him, and Bataille appears, and he confirms that he wants to leave school and concentrate on his music. Initially, Kamin's not convinced, but in the end, he gives his blessing. What's the big thing with this guy?
I was going to put it in as a question, but I didn't because it was too obvious. This is wooden actor Daniel Stewart.
Yeah.
Who auditioned for Star Trek several times, and he only ever got this role because he played the son of Patrick Stewart because he's the son of Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And he's got horrifically wooden acting. It's like, come quick, mom is dying. It's really awful. So I'm not surprised he didn't get more roles.
He did try out for a few roles in TNG actually, but this was the first one he got.
Like it literally, he goes, "Come quick, mom is dying."
You do get to see it.
Like,
see what? Sorry,
you dropped off there, Tabby.
No,
go ahead.
No, you Tabby, go on.
Am I back?
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, no, I was saying, him as an actor, you get to see him again. And the awesome show. Can you hear me? Or do I keep dropping off?
Dropping in
Yeah,
and out.
sort of in and out.
Yeah.
But he's very wooden. So yeah, I can see why his acting career didn't take off. They didn't even shave his unibrow. I mean, he's got a big mad ass unibrow. You think someone would take care of that before they put him out? But no.
Yeah, they give him a wig though, which is nice.
You probably can't see it on YouTube, but we have a slightly higher, more resolution kind of behind the scenes, and yeah. But yeah, you can see he's got his father's hairline, certainly.
Did we spin the wheel for the last bonus question?
Fudge, no? Did anybody get it right?
The fire in which we burn.
Oh, did we all get it right?
Oh no, so
No,
yeah,
we
we've got
apologies.
Tavi.
3 people got it. No, I think everybody except Ruth. Sorry, Ruth.
Tavi, Monty, Mazza. Am I missing anyone?
Stu Plum.
Stu.
Yeah.
Not Ruth.
Sorry, Ruth.
Oh. Right then, I'm spinning the wheel. I'm excited.
Second time we've forgotten tonight.
Yeah, I'm all a little bit kerfuffled because it's all a bit weird. But anyway, here we go.
Yeah,
spinning the wheel.
We were thrown off. Yeah, well, Tavi's had to look at the wheel tonight. Will she keep it? No.
Ooh. Stu Plum.
Stu Plum.
Well done, Stu
Nobody
Plum.
got it.
Well done, fella.
Yellow. Yellow.
Right, back to the. There we go.
Let me say yellow. I would have got it though.
In 2019, he was in another series with Patrick Stewart with his dad, where.
He played somebody else's son, though, didn't he?
No, I think he played Patrick Stewart's son again.
Oh, did he? Oh, right. Okay.
I think so.
Well, as I said, that
Bloom
your man.
talks. That they
Bloom, was it Bloom? What was it called?
Bloom talks, she said.
Yeah, it's Patrick Stewart plays like a news reader, like an anchor man, a British anchor man, and he's like quite like outspoken. And I think he plays his son, who's also sort of like one of his bodyguards. Not his main bodyguard, not his right-hand man, but one of the other ones. And, yeah. Apparently it's quite irreverent, the series. It's a bit like a sort of South Park or Family Guy or something. It's quite, quite out there.
Well, they're not the Shepherds. I think the Shepherds, both of which I mentioned last week, appeared on Star Trek. They played father and son, or they played the same character on like 5 different occasions.
Yeah,
they in the Lake Silence in Doctor Who, if you know it, Doctor Who reference. They play the same character 30 years apart because it's a time travel show.
Yeah, Ruth says nepotism only gets you so far.
That's true.
Like, honest to God, they must have done 10 takes of every line he said, and every line is wooden as crap. He's just like, "Come, Mama's dying."
He looks quite a bit different now. He
looks like Ross Kemp now. Yeah.
Open image in a new tab.
Yeah, so, somewhat ironically, when he had hair, he actually looked more like Patrick Stewart now that he doesn't have hair.
But I say he doesn't look like Patrick Stewart now so much, does he?
But when he had hair, he looked more like him. Sorry, I misused that ironically earlier, but that is ironic.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what he looks like now.
He just looks like Ross Kemp's brother or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He looks more like Jason Statham than he looks like Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Although Jason Statham, no, he doesn't have hair. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, hang on.
Shut up, Sean.
Right, there we go. On with Act 4. Yes, he's decided to pursue a career in music. The next day, at the council meeting, Kamin is ready to present his findings to the government administrator, who's also aged quite a bit, who quietly tells him, yes, we already know. They have known for some time, but with their technology, there's nothing they can do about it. They don't want to start a panic, so they've not released the information. They've only just started sending some small missiles up, for Christ's sake. What are they supposed to do? Kamin thinks they should be able to do something, send out some genetic material or something, just so that people could find that they once existed. And the administrator tells him there is a plan in the works, but he cannot say more than that. Then Bataille runs over, as there's now something wrong with Elaine. They follow Bataille. He runs like a little child as well. It's really weird for such a tall man. She asks how it went with the administrator, and Kamin tells her that they already know. So, yeah, he's still got his job on the council. She reminds him to put his shoes away, because it's something he never does. And then she dies a natural death. And Kamin grieves for his wife. And here's a picture of him grieving, which unfortunately doesn't really come across because it's a rubber mask.
He's covered in rubber, yeah.
So he kind of just squints his eyes a little bit.
Could you just go back a shot? I just want to bring up two things.
Mm-hmm.
First one, stop hammer time. Loving the hammer pants, the parachute pants.
But
also...
Got touches.
But also, full props to Patrick here. He's sinking in his knees. His shoulders are hunched. His arms are going. He's actually acting old. It's subtle, but you can actually see that he's acting as someone 30 years older than his real age, and it's just a nice touch.
Mm.
Also, good set design. The way they built light into the set with the overpasses and the white diffusion seats, so that they don't. Makes it very easy to shoot when you move around. You don't have to set up light stands everywhere. Yeah,
it's also really cool because you actually see this house has a ceiling with lights and things, which is something you don't normally see with TNG sets.
Yeah,
you usually see all the walls, but you don't often see the ceilings.
Well, as I said, they've got kind of, I think they're called diffusion seats.
Yes,
sheets,
right.
Basically, that they just deliver an even. You have a big one light, and then they just deliver even light by hitting it and then kind of bouncing out. So it makes it a lot easier to shoot when you don't keep moving sands around.
Like there and
here,
you see, you got a ceiling with lights and things. It's unusual to see a set with a ceiling and lights. It makes it feel like small and homely, and that you don't normally see that in TNG. So that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I think Tony's saying something, but we can't seem to hear her anymore.
Two lights.
There are two lights.
Oh, we heard that.
Yes, there are two lights. Yes.
Brilliant.
Very good.
That was the end of the act, wasn't it?
That was the end of the act. He's grieving for his wife. Yes.
Where are we? What did Aline tell Kamin to do just before she died? Was it A, brush his teeth, B, comb his hair, C, iron his shirt, or D, tidy his shoes?
Who was listening to me a minute ago?
Who was what?
She does mention it. Oh, that typo.
S.
She does mention it several times. So hopefully,
Yeah,
It's not bad.
yeah. Well, those two letters are beside each other on the keyboard, so I
Yeah,
think we can accept that as your answer.
just a
Uh,
typo.
It's really sweet though.
Okay.
It's quite a good moment of like, you know, they
Yeah.
of it's a typical kind of like husband and wife banter thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
But although, you know, I would want my last, if I was dying, I'd want my last words to my other half to be something a bit better than like, put the bins out. Something more like, I'll love you forever or something. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you say that, but my stepmother died about a year and a half ago, and we were reasonably close. Despite me, I didn't meet her till I was 16, and I still go to my father's house every day, which was her house since she was a child. In a lot of ways, I just like I have to keep things the way she kept them. So I was like, if I don't do it, Jean will halt me. You know, I say it as a joke, but I half mean it. It's like, you know, she'll come back from the dead to tell me that I haven't cleaned the kitchen the way she wants it cleaned. So I have to just keep my stuff in check, make sure everything's taken over. All right, so yeah, I didn't catch
It
any.
makes the point that they all have aged better in real life than they are
Yeah.
fake
That's
aged
true.
in the
That
episode, which
is
is a good
true.
point.
That's always always the case, isn't it?
Okay, so the bonus question. In 2021, the Reskin flute sold for... sorry, I messed up the question. The way I wrote it. In 2021, the Reskin flute sold for how much, having originally sold for 48,000. So it went into an auction back in the early 90s, and it was estimated at 3,000 to 5,000, and it sold for 48. It came up again in 2021, including all the fees. What price did it sell for? Like, you know, whatever, 25 years later. So it is a closest guess wins kind of thing, because unless there's two people that are equally close, which is unlikely.
Oh crap! No, don't type in there.
You're looking it up.
No,
Cheater.
Monty's googling the question.
I typed in the wrong thing.
Whilst
and
people
I will
putting
point
in
out-
answers,
Just before you do that, I will say it doesn't work as a flute. It's non-functional. Sorry, go on ahead.
But you can see
Yeah,
at the
it is.
end when he
There's no
takes
hole
it
in the
out of the
top.
thing. There's no hole. Yeah, there's no hole.
yeah.
in it.
Yeah, a couple of little things. So, so Patrick Stewart has been known to say that this was the greatest acting challenge he had faced in 7 years of Star Trek. That may well be because of, you know, the emotion involved and the fact that it was a different sort of episode, but it may also be because he recalls having his earliest makeup call of any actor in the history of Star Trek. His makeup call on Monday was 1 a.m.
Oh.
His set call to go onto set was 7 a.m. So we left home around midnight to start his day of work.
Why didn't he just sleep in his trailer?
Oh yeah, you'd have to sleep during the. I mean, that's just crazy. Like, you wouldn't get any sleep, would you? If you were on set all day,
Yeah.
you'd get
Quite
a couple of
often,
hours sleep. in the evening,
quite
that'd be
often
it.
they fell asleep whilst they were putting makeup on. They'd sit there. And
Yeah,
doze
surprised me.
off.
Some of them could do it because they got in the habit. Michael Dorn, I think his makeup initially took 4 hours, and they got it down to an hour and a half, an hour and three quarters. Just various different little hacks they came up with over the years. But like, he had to be there 4 hours before everyone else. He had to be there an hour and a half after everyone else left. I mean, if I was just as a human, I could just wipe that makeup off my face. I didn't need to go back to makeup to get it off. They had to like unglue it from his face with these solvents, and he did it for years. Actually, he did it for longer than anyone else because he still has the most credits, as you know, he's in the most episodes of any actor actor, and they were obviously all in Klingon makeup.
Yeah.
And there was one episode, it's not called Soldiers of Fortune, the one where they go in and they try and expose Martok as a changeling, Soldiers of the Empire, I think it's called. And Colin Meaney tells a story about going, this thing on my face, I can't crinkle my eyebrows, I have these weird fingernails, I can't move my arms. And he was like complaining and bitching and everything. And Michael's like, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like, shut up. Like, he had to do it for 3 days and he was moaning and bitching like it was the worst thing in the world. But Michael just went zen. He was... I know, he has a spiritual Buddhism about him. He went vegan a couple of years ago. He's a pretty chill dude.
Okay.
My turn again.
Yeah.
All right, I think. Go on, sorry.
Shut up, Sean.
And the melody that Bataille plays on the Rescom flute, did you recognise it?
No.
It went something like do 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 do.
Oh, it wasn't that, was it?
It inspired the theme tune for Picard.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's not
nice.
exactly the same, but it's pretty similar.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I found that piece of trivia, I did
That's
go back
very
and listen
cool.
to it, and I was like, oh yeah. You could maybe play it if you could find a
Well,
clip of it.
I be
That's at the end, maybe.
effed.
Well, I just going to throw in for the bonus question. Monty, you were surprisingly close, but
Am I?
Stutlum, sir, it was 237,000, and you put 250, but Stu put down 240. So you were
Nice one, Stu Plum.
Stu Plum gets the points.
I mean, we went to 1.1 million. So to get it within $3,000 was
Pretty
really
impressive.
impressive.
Pretty impressive. Well done, Stu Plum.
Might as well have been bang
Well
on.
done. Yeah.
But whoever bought it for 48 grand kept it for 25 years and sold it for 237. Well done. You made bank.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That puts Stu Plum 10 more points away from me,
Oh
Ruth.
no, Ruth. Oh no.
We're now 20 points apart.
No, no.
Never mind.
But they sell replicas with the case that actually you can actually play for about 35-40 euro. So, but you have to spend $250,000 for the one that doesn't work. It's a funny world.
It's a funny world. I'd like one of those flutes.
Yeah.
They're very inexpensive,
that
and they go on. Sorry.
That's the one that's been in his hands. He
Yeah,
actually
true.
put his mouth on it, so Creep is probably mouthing it.
Yeah, but yeah, I happened to look it up just for this episode. You
I
can
would.
buy them for about £40 delivered, so maybe 50. 'cause it might
Done.
come from
I'm
America,
getting one of
but
those
it's-
bad
yeah.
boys.
Yeah, and it comes in the case with the little tassel on it, so yeah,
Oh.
it displays well.
Want one?
Cool. The final comment to this act was that Patrick Stewart said that the scene that most affected to him was where it was just sort of before here, where they were both sat on the bench. It was just after Picard had told him that he wants to go into music. And he said, I was there with the actress playing my wife. It was a late, warm evening, sitting on a bench. And I remember looking at her thinking, this is what it feels like to be elderly, sitting on a bench with someone you know so well. And he said that he had a real sense of, this was what's waiting for me in my future and stuff. And he felt like he was getting a real glimpse, sort of a godlike glimpse of his future and his life.
I'm pretty sure he didn't stay married.
Well, to think you could have those
No,
moments
no.
while you're on set with all those cameras.
No, he didn't. He's been married 3 times.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's
It's a
changed it up
glimpse
a bit.
into his future with some.
And
30-year-old
Mazza, bear in
film.
mind he's 82. I think his wife is younger than you, roughly. I think
Yeah.
she's
So she's probably in her late.
or
30s.
around the same age as you. I think she's born in 78 or 77 or something.
I'm 78, so if she was 77.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Little bit older.
around then. Sorry, yeah, around your. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Anyway, Act 5. Final act.
December 23rd, 78. Sorry. Okay.
We're in
Might be
it's, very same age. Yeah. Okay, we're into the final act, and the Act 5 opens with we've jumped on years later, and a very elderly Kamin is playing with his grandson. This is supposed to be quite a sweet scene, but to be honest, it just looks absolutely terrifying. It's like,
Yeah, a little bit.
he's like this horrific looking
Yeah, it's like,
Scrooge
pretty
motherfucker,
creepy.
and he's just like going. "Ah, ah, ah, ah." It's like, oh my god! If I was that little kid, I'd be like, ah! But
Do you remember the child snatcher from Chitty Chitty Bang?
yeah, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's like Jesus. No
Oh,
wonder he's like,
yeah.
stay away from me. But no. Anyway, it's a very sweet scene apparently, and it's not from any kind of horror film. Yeah. His son and daughter enter and tell him they're going to go watch a missile launch, and Kamin is reticent. He doesn't want to go out there and watch a missile launch, and he's feeling melancholy because he knows that his grandchild will most likely not have a long and fulfilled life. He agrees in the end, though, so he goes and takes a seat outside, and is surprised that everyone else in the town knows about the launch, and he didn't know about it, being like the astronomer guy that he is. He wants to know what this launch thing is anyway, and Maribor tells him that, you know what it is, Father. You've met it, you've seen it before. But Kamin is like, I haven't seen any missiles launched. What are you talking about? And then Batai, his old friend, comes back from the dead and tells him he has seen it. Don't you remember? They hope their probe would encounter someone who could be a teacher and tell people about them. And Picard suddenly understands that it's the probe. It's the probe that he saw on the Enterprise. It's the probe that will find him in the future. Then his wife returns to tell him they have all been dead for thousands of years, or 1,000 years, and if he can remember how we were and how we lived, then they have found new life again.
They're dead, Dave.
Yep, they're dead, Dave.
Everyone's dead, Dave.
As the missile looks like a rubbery day.
It looks like a rubbery day. Yeah, look.
Although I just point out back to the tree there, and I didn't notice it until just
This
now.
one, yeah.
The tree is dead. That's a really nice touch, because it's literally like the last little burst of like they can't keep the tree alive anymore.
Yeah, earlier on,
it was all green and lush, and they
even here when they're at the telescope in their garden, you can see all the green vines that were all over their house are now dead vines. So as the episode goes on, they do and they change the whole lighting, the tonal lighting of the whole thing as well. At the beginning,
that's what I was about to say.
At the beginning, it's very sort of soft lighting and very like orangey, like white, and then later on it becomes more of a sort of lighter,
glaring light,
more glaring
and then
light,
it gets to pure white at the end.
Yeah, and by the end, it's like just completely white.
Because I watch it on my phone whilst I'm typing on my laptop. I mean, I wouldn't normally watch on my phone, but it's just so I can do two things at once. And you've got a little slider, and it was interesting sort of going up and down the slider because you've got like the little caption image and just sort of seeing the lighting change as you go up and down. It was quite cool.
Yeah, everything's dead now, and it's very, very white. So the missile launches, and she says now...
Gazpacho soup.
Yes. That's where my super line came from earlier. I got that from Red Dwarf.
They're all Red Dwarf references.
Yeah, sorry, Tab. We were doing Red Dwarf. You're missing out.
As the missile launches, she says, "Now we will live in you. Tell them about us, my darling." And on the bridge, Data informs them that the beam has stopped, and Picard wakes up on the floor of the bridge. Riker orders the probe to be tracked into one of their hangars. Picard is disorientated. He's like, I know you. I know this place. He is again on the Enterprise. He asks Riker how long he's been out, and Riker informs him about 25 minutes. He's like, 25 minutes? Dr. Crusher takes him to sickbay, and Picard just turns to her and goes, Dr. Crusher. It's like all his synapses are realigning, He approaches the turbo lift, and his hand reaches out to the side here because he got used to pressing the light panel.
Right. I thought he was just sort of caressing his ship, like, is it real? Am I back here? But
no, that's where the door panel was in his home, and he just got so used to every time he exited his front room of putting his hand up to the door. So he put his hand up to the door because he just got used to doing that. And then he looks around everyone like, did anybody just know? Look, we've got automatic doors here. Did anybody notice that? It's so cool. Oh yeah, automatic doors.
I really like this part because there's some continuity in this, because in the movie Generations, or was it Nemesis? His nephew died.
Generations.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly, you're kind of going in and out, but yeah, kind of good.
His nephew dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, sorry, we lost you.
His nephew dies, and he gets very upset about it. And
oh, we're just losing Tabbykins.
If he dies, he gets upset about it. That's as much as we heard.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll put it in chat, I think.
Yeah, maybe put it in chat. Put it in chat and let us know.
I'll type.
Type it.
Yeah.
Type away. Yeah. So, yeah. Did I do that picture? Oh no, there you go, that picture. So later in his quarters, Picard's for re-familiarizing himself with all his stuff. When Riker pays a visit, he reports that they have opened the probe, that they tracked it in, but unfortunately the program was self-terminating and there was nothing to salvage inside it except for a box. And so Picard opens the box and finds his flute. I love the way he unpacks it and he finds the flute and he grabs it and holds on to it like it's like a really precious. And he almost looks over his shoulder to see if Riker, even though he knows Riker's gone, to see if he was kind of embarrassed, Riker might see him be coveting this flute so much. But yes, I'm sure he will cherish this forever. And the episode ends with him playing the flute and his song. And that was the end of the episode. Done.
All right, so I'll give you my last two questions. So, how long does Aline say the rest of them have gone? Was it A, 100 years, B, 1,000 years, C, 10,000, or D, 100,000? And then the bonus question is, in 2016, Patrick Stewart made a CD for charity, but in what genre is the music? So what genre of music did Patrick Stewart release? Now, you may have seen this, and I will give you an additional clue. His wife, Sunny Ozell, is also on the album. And if you try and think about what kind of artist a woman with the name Sunny Ozell might do, that might give you a clue.
I'm going to go with this.
So we've already mentioned the fact that the flute is just a prop, doesn't play music because there's no hole in the mouthpiece. And we've already covered the fact that, a place that can barely send a missile into space can have this probe, which is capable of taking over the nervous system and transmitting all of this information in a totally believable passage of time, interactive experience to a complete alien physiology. It's a bit of a stretch. So yes. And there was something about a humanoid statue in Kamin's building, but I couldn't see it anywhere. Did you see any statues? It was apparently a large replica of a marble Cycladic idol, but I couldn't see it anywhere.
Didn't see it. Can't say I noticed. Wookiee's going for Morris dancing as a style.
I don't know if anyone has ever done an album of Morris dancing, giving it's just shaking bells about, but maybe I suppose someone out there probably has. I'm sure there's some YouTube tutorials with people doing it. Maybe someone put it.
Well, what did Morris dancing dance to? Don't they dance to Morris dancing music?
Do they? Yeah, I just thought they sort of jingle jangle themselves. Okay, I don't know.
Oh, is there not music? Do they just do their thing with just on their own with no music at all?
I don't know.
They
We
dance to
don't
their
have it
jingle
over here,
jangles?
so
I don't know. No, I don't know.
yeah. How did the Maypole people do their whole thing? Give it another Indigenous English thing. Is there music to that? How do they decide who goes under, who goes over? I don't know.
No idea.
Mystery.
No idea.
How do they decide when they do it again? How do they unwrap it? Do they just do it in reverse? Who knows? It's like counterclockwise. No idea.
It's not really a southwest thing. We're more Gaelic, you know. It's not. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's
You're
more
down.
like
you're down with.
home country
You're down
sort
with-
of thing, you know. Midlands.
You're down towards the Cornish and the Manx.
Yeah.
You're more of us than you are of them. I get
Yeah.
it. It's more of an Anglo-Saxon thing.
Right.
Okay, I think we've given enough time.
Any last bits of trivia, Mazma Bomb?
Not really. I mean, it's just kind of really sad. It's like he's lost his whole family, right? Ronald D. Moore was saying that it wasn't until after they made this episode that they thought about the fact that this, I mean, perhaps other than being kidnapped by the Borg and turned into Locutus, would have been the most profound experience in Picard's life and would have potentially changed him irrevocably. But then obviously they carried on with the series and it was the same old Picard, but they did sort of content themselves with having the follow-up episode Lessons. I knew I'd come to it later.
Lessons,
That's the one with the lady with the little keyboard thingy,
Yeah.
where they do sort of reflect on this episode. But
I say
But
he's completely fine by the next episode. He's he's over
yeah.
it. That was last week.
But they said, because they were in doing the episode, he said it's one of those things where you can't really see the wood from the trees. You're so focused on churning out a good story, you don't really think about the ripple effect that would have or should have had on the entire sort of storyline thereon.
TNG was done in an episodic style where you weren't really allowed to carry much forward. In DS9, you were allowed to have a little bit of episodic, but even then, O'Brien spent 20 years in a mind prison, nearly kills himself, and then the next episode, he doesn't mention it, and it's never mentioned again.
Yeah.
Also, this shot shows again why Picard's bald head is always a problem for the lighting people, because you can clearly see the lighting setup bouncing off his head.
As Tarikin says in chat there, though, you'd think after this episode he'd have no problems with like relationships and children, and he's lived that life already as far as his mind's concerned.
Crusher Beverly never gave him the chance. She just ran off. She figured that there'd always be some threat. Damon Bach, for example, in another later episode we come to, actually an earlier episode as well, that would be leveraged to get to him and all the enemies who made gallivanting around the universe. So it's just easier.
It's a shame they actually didn't make reference to it in Picard, isn't it? Because he kind of says, like, well, I never had a chance to have a family and experience all that sort of thing. But you think,
Ruth's mentioned that in chat as well.
Well done, Ruth.
Yeah, I'm sure he denied ever being a parent on more than one occasion.
Yeah, and you think, well, surely as far as his mind's concerned, he's been a parent to 2 children and had grandchildren, and
but also as a coping mechanism, I guess he had to tell himself none of this was real. It was all just a dream.
Yeah, I guess so.
Otherwise, if he felt like it was real, it would feel
he lost his
too real that he lost
over and over again. Yeah, maybe so.
A few plot holes in Picard. One, he goes, Data always wanted a daughter. He had a daughter. They mentioned him later, but like he mentioned, like he didn't have one previously. And the other thing is, what happened to Lore? It's not brought up once. They don't, they mention B4 and they mention all sorts of Sung type androids. No mention of Lore. It's like, huh?
Well,
okay.
Season 3.
Just before you move on, I'd just give you the answers.
Okay. Yep.
Yes, it was 1,000 years, and Sonny Ozell with her husband, country album. They did a few songs. And if you go to YouTube and you go Patrick Stewart country album, there's like a little intro infomercial clip that's about 3 or 4 minutes long of him singing, done as a parody. He did it for charity, but it's just beautiful. It's just gold.
Am I going to get copyright strike now?
I don't think so. He only sold about 5,000 albums. I don't think he did it through a record label or anything. So I think you'll be reasonably safe.
Patrick Stewart, country album.
Country album.
And what am I looking for? Did you say something particular?
No, that should bring it up.
Should I just bring up the first YouTube video that comes along?
I would think so, yeah.
Lives and Times Records and Tapes proudly presents Sir Patrick Stewart's Cowboy Classics.
Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Oh, the streams are swollen. Keep them dogs.
Yeah, it's because the way he's sharing it. But just in case you thought I was making it up, it's actually a thing. He really did.
I can't have it, guys. You've got to you've got to listen to this. Hang on a minute. Hang on.
Okay.
I don't know why that doesn't come up. It really should. Yeah.
Lives and Times Records and Tapes proudly presents Sir
Getting it
Patrick
out?
Stewart's Cowboy Classics.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. Oh, the streams are swollen. Keep them doggies rolling. Rawhide. Through rain and wind and weather. Hell bent for leather. Wishing my gal was by my side. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, ride 'em in, let 'em out, cut 'em out. Ride 'em in, rawhide.
Long known as England's premier cowboy singer, Sir Stewart now brings his music stateside in this amazing collection.
Let's vamoose where gals keep using those silks and satins and linen that shows, and you're all mine in buttons and bows.
Sometimes it takes an Englishman to teach us what's great about
He looks
being
like he's having
American.
fun.
Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above.
He's got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Let me ride through the wide open country that I love.
It's gradually going away and being echoey.
Still
Like
have
that.
27
It
smash
goes
hits
away.
that have made Patrick Stewart Britain's most beloved
Right,
cowboy
well, there
career.
we go.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I know it's such a mad thing, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's just like, yeah, that happened.
It's great. I want to buy it.
I don't know why.
You can,
like,
you can,
it
but
doesn't work.
it's expensive.
Where's my chat window gone? There you go.
You need your wheel spin up
Wheel spin up.
with
Yeah,
I'm going to
country.
go with Monteban Roof and Stuplum because Stuplum called it a Yeehaw album, which I think is close enough to country.
Right. So who's on the thing?
Monty Roof and Stuplum.
Monty Roof and Stuplum. Right then.
I said the big hint was his current wife is called Sunny Ozell, and actually, if that clip went on a bit further, he's singing a duet with her. But yeah, she is actually a country and western singer.
Yeah, never admit you cheat, Stu. Never admit you cheat. Especially when you effing win. Well done, Stephen. You little cheater, you little cheater. Who's a little cheater?
Am I right in saying that knocks Ruth out of bronze?
It does, I'm afraid. 'Cause it's,
Oh, unlucky.
Oh.
well, it already did, but yeah.
Give it to Ruth. Jesus. Give it to Ruth. Oh, bless. That's so funny.
Oh well, we've a new season next week. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all gravy. Right, if you want to start thinking about putting your scores into chat, what would you give this episode out of 10? Yeah. Meanwhile, we'll go through the scores. I will get my the sheet up for the second to last time. I mean, we still got one more episode to go, so I don't know if that helps anyone.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
This is not the last episode of the season. That's next week. So yeah, still one more episode to go. The Inner Light.
Plum gives it a 10. That's excellent.
Right. Okay, should we go through the scores then? Scores and duels. Have you got them there ready, Mazin Bob?
I do, and for a change, nobody has an identical score, so I'm not sort of splitting any of the points between two people. So, in first place, by a whisker, because he got 3 bonuses correct, was Stuplum. He's got 450 TNG review points, and so that's 10 marks on the scoreboard.
Right.
Closely followed behind, who got 2 of the bonuses, but not 3 of them like Stuplum did, is Tavi with 9 points, 440 TNG review points for her.
Okay.
I'm sure you're updating it, but we can't see you updating it, just so you know.
Oh, it's this stupid thing again. Oh.
No, you can keep going. You can just tell us orally. It's fine.
No, I don't want to. I want you to see doing it. No.
No, I don't want it.
No.
And then next is Ruth. Again, 10 points less with 430 TNG review points in third place. So 8 points on the scoreboard for Ruth.
180.
And then again, 10 points behind Ruth is myself with 420 TNG review points. So 7 points on the scoreboard for me.
Yeah.
And then coming up in the rear, because you got one question wrong, Monty Ban, is your good self with 340 TNG review points, and you got 6 points on the scoreboard. 6.
So that puts me on 78. There we go. There we go. Oh, I'm going to have to reshuffle it, because that is a change, a slight change. Combi. That one. So yes, now Mazin Bob is in a clear third place, and unfortunately, Ruth has dropped off the third place. She now needs to win it next week. Ruth needs to come first, and you need to get basically nothing. Yeah.
Cool. Tavi's saying, just putting voice to our comments. You think he would be quite disturbed after living a full life? That is a real testament to the technology that they could make that much of a connection with a new species. Plus, it makes it softly connected to the episode where they explained that all bipod creatures were created by that race that seeded the galaxy.
Well, I forget the name of them, but they don't say they've created all life. They just say they've seeded life in their part of the galaxy. So it's not that case that they've seeded. They know they're behind the Klingons and the Cardassians and the humans and a couple of other races, but it's not to say that they're behind all the races, just the ones kind of Alpha Beta Quadrant area where they explored.
Mr. Tavikin says, beard is finally washed, fluffy, and full-bodied.
Nice.
And Ruth says, is it a double-parter next week? It is. And so I guess, would we do points on the scoreboard after the first episode and then points on the scoreboard after the second episode? Or would we just add all 12 up together?
No, we do it twice.
So, so you've got chance for a double bubble.
Yeah, double bubble.
Yeah.
We will finish off the points for this episode here, add in the points for part 1, add in the scores, coming up with a winner for the series, and then we'll dive straight into part 2.
So there is still just one for this series then, and then you'll get on the scoreboard for next series. That makes sense.
Then we move on
Stu
to
says, don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already. Good point. Thank you, Stu Plum.
What a ledge. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And also, Wookie asks, "Where's Smiler Rainbow this evening?" She had to take my son to Mai Tai, and then in between travelling to Mai Tai, she's had other meetings. So yeah, she's been busy this evening with other things, unfortunately. So yeah, no wrench in chat this evening. Luckily, we don't get any Russian bots anymore. They seem to have solved that problem. So we do.
Yeah, things got easier. And I no big spoilers for next week, but I just say we're going to get a lot of data head.
Yes.
A lot of
Lots
data.
of D-head. Along the lines of what you were saying about how they made a connection, it did occur to me, what if this probe, I mean, it was looking for a random alien and then it terminated, right? What if it connected with, I don't know, a Klingon?
Yeah.
Would he have been put into a world with everybody who looked like Klingons? But surely they wouldn't have acted like Klingons, or would he have been one Klingon in the middle of a bunch of human-looking people? Yeah. And what would he have done? He would have felt like he was a captive and probably tried to repeatedly kill himself. Yeah, it only works if you come across an alien that happens to look exactly like you and have the exact kind of temperament. That would be somebody who would be happy to settle down in a little village and have a family with a complete stranger.
I did assume that they all just looked like humans because they just read him as human, and
yeah,
they
which is why I'm saying if you took a Klingon, then they would all look like Klingons, and you'd be like, why am I on this planet of Klingons who aren't acting like Klingons? It would be really bizarre.
Well, in Voyager, they kind of cover this because when they go to the Q continuum, they bring them to. They basically say, "Look, your human brain can't comprehend how it really looks, so we just give you an analogy to make your brain able to understand the environment that you're in." So I'm assuming it's something similar to that. You know, it's an analogy, it's an approximation, but you know, it's a little bit different.
Well, I would say that aside from the visual looks of them, everything else would be completely authentic to their lives, because the whole point of this probe was to convey exactly how they lived and what their culture looked like. So it's not going to change anything else, is it? Because else that wouldn't be true to themselves. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Monty and Mazzy, you both have bingos. Fair play.
Apparently so, but
yay.
I don't know. I must have missed one of the calls then, because I don't have any lines or corners.
Whoa,
or is it? One. I don't have a diagonal. I don't know. Anywho.
Okay, Tabby. Well, I will say, try and get your internet sorted for next week, because it's a double D.
Yeah,
it's a double D.
It's two episodes based around data.
Right, has people been putting their scores for this episode in chat?
We have a couple of scores in chat.
All right.
Oh, okay. Go for it. Oh, yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready to give your scores for this evening? Has everybody got their
paddle ready? I believe I'm ready.
Everybody got their paddle ready?
Yeah.
Let's go for it then. Ready?
I think Sean might have scored it an 8.
I was trying to hold it level with the camera.
In the honor of Sean, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where's my... Hey!
10 on 8, 10. Nice.
10
some hella scores there.
Yeah.
10. 9. 10.
Ruth is saying apparently this is better than what you gave your favorite episode, Drumhead. Is that right? Was that was?
Yeah, I regret giving Drumhead. No, Measure of Man was my favorite episode, but Drumhead is my favorite episode that we've reviewed since I joined you. Yeah, I regret giving Drumhead not a 9 or a 10, especially since Spencer Garrett is such a sound lad. Spencer Garrett has been in. He's got like 200 credits on IMDb. He's been all sorts of things, but you want to talk to him. You want to talk about his one time he played a role in Star Trek for one day back 35 years ago. He's up for it. He'll respond to your questions if you reach out to him on Twitter. He's such a cool guy, and yeah, I regret not giving him more.
So that's joint top episode for this season, then, is that right?
What's the score for
in chat? That would be a 10 because we got a 10 and a 10 and a 9.3.
Yeah, 10. Excellent.
Oh, so that pushes it up to be the best episode
That's
of
the
the
best
season.
episode of the season. Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
That's
to be
impressive.
fair, Measure of a Man is always considered top 5. I would think of Star Trek: The Next Generation in anyone's list. It's always up there at the top, but certainly top 10.
Measure of Man's back in season 2.
Oh, sorry, I meant this episode.
I mean, Measure of Man,
the Inner Light. Sorry,
Measure of Man, we did make the best episode of season 2.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant to say Inner Light. We were talking
Inner
about
Light,
my
that was
favorite
season
episode. And got it.
4?
No, this episode is Inner Light.
Oh, this one. Oh,
yeah. Sorry, I confused you. I was talking about Measure of Man and it got in my head and I said the wrong name. This episode, The Inner Light, is considered one of the best episodes of TNG, generally top 5. So
yes,
almost any list you'll find.
To just quickly run through some of those lists.
Yeah, go on then.
It's considered to be Will Wheaton's possible favourite, although there is another source which says Tapestry is his favourite. So maybe in his top 2 favourite episodes ever. Michael Westmore said Patrick Stewart should have won an Emmy for this. Entertainment Weekly ranked it episode number 3 on their list of top 10. Michael Piller named this, as well as Measure of a Man and The Offspring, as his 3 favourite episodes because of the emotional impacts. The book Star Trek 101 lists it as one of the top 10 essential episodes. It featured in the Viewer's Choice Marathon. We mentioned about Outer Light. Alan Fields praised his wife, what she called Margot Rose, and said there was actually 7 minutes of footage with her in that was cut just because of the length that the episode was running long. But he said that she was a real treat in those extra scenes. Michael Chabon describes it as being 2 of his this and Far Beyond the Stars from Deep Space Nine as being his 2 favorite episodes. And it got a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation, the 3rd of 4 Star Trek episodes to win that award. And it was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Makeup for a Series. Quite a few accolades and top rankings.
I think one thing I love about it is the fact that it's one of those episodes that doesn't have a bad guy or an antagonist or any sort of apart from the star going supernova, I suppose, is the antagonist of the thing. Sunlight itself. It's just a wholesome kind of, story of life and how life tries to survive under any circumstance, and I just think that's very unusual for Star Trek. Usually you have a some sort of thing to fight against. You have some sort of massive special effects thing, or a fight scene, or an action thing, or a some sort of thing they're running away from or being transmitted. But there's just a story of a family, and it's very unusual for that regard.
There's a weird thing that we all want to have a legacy and we all want to be remembered and things, but as a general rule, 150 years after you're dead, you will be forgotten. And I mean, that will go from, even things like, okay, there'll be exceptions like, I don't know, Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, Genghis Khan, people that Shakespeare,
name
Shakespeare,
warmongers.
Churchill. There will be a few exceptions, but for the most part, even
Einstein.
Einstein will probably remember. But I don't know, say Jennifer Lawrence, for example. 150 years time, nobody will have any clue who she is. Even though she can't walk the streets now, she'll be mobbed. In 150 years, completely wiped out of the memory of humans. So we'll all be forgotten. Who's
Jennifer Lawrence?
She's from Catching Fire and the Katniss.
The Hunger Games, the
Games.
X-Men films, and
Hunger
many other
Games.
things.
All right,
Oh yeah, and she plays the blue chick from X-Men.
Well,
yeah.
or let's say Anthony Hopkins or Al Pacino. In 150 years, nobody will know. Nobody will know who those people.
150 years, I was like, is she now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you just or Patrick Stewart in 150 years, people just won't know who he is. That's it. We don't know actors from 150 years ago. Just it's gone out of our memory. It's gone. So yeah, even with a few exceptions, the most famous people, basically we will all kind of cease to exist in living memory at a certain point. But it's okay. We won't be here to see it, so it won't hurt us.
And Tavakin says they didn't meet their fate with disgrace and panic. It was a very noble ending. Although having said that, they're the ones who wrote that narrative, right? Perhaps they were just all running around panicking, but they were like, "Oh, let's leave that out of the alien narrative."
Edit that.
Mad Max. Yeah, it went pure Mad Max for the last couple of weeks.
Thunderdome.
What do we say about the southern part of the planet that are like extremists? They were all purple and just kill anyone of white on and forget about them. We'll not mention them in the missile. Yeah.
Well, there was a film a few years ago with Steve Carell of The Office fame, and it was. Yeah, I think it's called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. And basically it's like, comet's going to hit Earth. You have a month. Make the most of it. Bye. Which kind of covers the topic in more detail. And he finds love and tries to kind of settle down for the last couple of days, but other people just go crazy. People who've been sober for 10 years just decide to give up on it and, all that kind of stuff. It's,
Wookie says actors are already getting themselves digitally branded for future productions. Bruised Willies, for example. I think that was Bruce Willis.
Oh dear.
Bruce Willis.
Oh, that is the bestest dyslexia slip. Yeah, Bruce Willis of Die Hard fame. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he won't act again. He's got dementia or something. So, I look forward to an AI Bruce Willis in future.
I was going to say, this is the thing. If you get yourself, properly sort of recorded in digital avatars, and if you record your voice, there are certain phonetics. You can get all of the phonetics recorded for your voice. Well, and then they can, it's like that whole deepfake thing. They could potentially digitally add you into productions in the future with your posthumous. What's the opposite of posthumous? Consent, I guess.
James Earl Jones has done that and sold it to Disney. So any future Star Wars things can have, James Earl Jones, Darth Vader in it, and it'll be like he's acting it, and they've got that on file.
Well, maybe that is the way the future will go. That and it'll only be a few people. So the likes of Elvis and John Wayne or. Gene, what's his name? Remember what I call this guy? But those kind of people will be picked up, and their digital avatars will continue, and it'll but they'll stay at the top.
More ethically questionable to do it for somebody who's already passed away.
Yeah,
I mean, the weird thing that a lot of people don't really know, but because I happen to be a data management professional, GDPR and data protection rights relate to identifiable living individuals. So technically, from a data protection legislation perspective, you don't have data protection rights once you pass. However, there are other things like copyright laws and things like that. Copyright laws, a lot of those are things like you have rights over your content for something like 50 years after your death, and then it goes into public domain. But even before then, it usually goes to nominated successors and that kind of thing. But I think it would be difficult for them to do that for people who might have already passed. But people like James Earl Jones, people who've got really, really classic quality voices who do voiceovers and things like that, why not? And if your family can get the royalties and the proceeds for that, hopefully, rather than just giving it for free, or maybe he did just license it to Disney for a big watch
I
for
think
himself,
he has
and
just
now he's
licensed it
sitting
to
pretty.
Disney. Yeah, now, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's cool. I think that's a
Winnie
great
the Pooh
idea.
is
It's
Winnie the
a
Pooh is
form of
public domain.
immortality, right?
Winnie the Pooh is public domain now. You can't put a red shirt on him because when you put a red shirt on him, that's copyrighted because that's what they did in the Disney films. But you can make your own Winnie the Pooh cartoon. Sherlock Holmes as well came into the public domain. Dracula came into the public domain. There was a year there was a glut of them this year. I saw a video on it.
Mickey Mouse.
But Mickey Mouse has come in, but yeah, again, you can only depict him in. You can only depict them in certain ways, but you can't depict them in the modern way.
The Steamboat Willie.
The Steamboat Willie version, the black and white version, yeah, you could do anything you want with that.
Which ironically, Disney's used as its logo for many years. The clip from Steamboat Willie.
Well, in Ireland, Mickey is a Mickey is an expression that means something else. And which is kind of funny because you talk about going around Disneyland looking for hidden Mickeys, and that's very, very funny to Irish people. Sorry, Mickey, but if you're watching, but well, it means penis basically. So,
is it?
Yeah, but
that.
you're Mickey, you're a lad, you're boyo. Your Johnson or
your
whatever
boil.
word you wish to use,
wow.
So when you talk about going around Disneyland looking for hidden Mickeys, that means something completely different in Ireland.
Yeah, the only other reference I knew of Mickey was like a Mickey Finn, which is like a drink that's been sort of spiked or is more alcoholic than you think.
No.
That sounds like Cockney rhyming slang, though, doesn't it? I don't know why, because it's not rhyming with anything that I know of.
No.
It just sounds like it is.
Yeah.
I like Berkeley Hunt, that one because Burke is short for Berkeley Hunt, and once you know it's Berkeley Hunt, you know exactly what it is.
You're a Burke. Oh,
yeah. Because I didn't know for years what it meant. I just thought it meant idiot. It's like, no, it's much stronger than that.
I'm learning. That's what I like about this show. Yeah. Oh, I just say Wookie just said he's sorry if I was rude to you earlier. I didn't see what that was, Wookie. So
he really wasn't rude. He said, I give additional score of 72 for the female eye candy. Sorry, guys, as self-identifying as a unitard. And Monty being bone idle to wear his uniform. It's just about the babes tonight. So it wasn't exactly that much of an insult. To which I said, I'm not wearing my uniform either. So I don't know why I get any credit.
Well,
but you're a babe.
To be fair,
you're a babe, so you're okay. You're going.
To be fair,
you're giving a pass.
I bought the DS9 Greys, but the problem is there's 2 layers and it's like 26 degrees.
It's not going to happen today, is it?
This is nice thin polyester, and might as well be a t-shirt. It's very comfortable to wear.
I mean, I don't know if you can tell how shiny I am. It's like,
yeah.
You could put me on a slide right now, and I'd go shoop right down.
And the other problem is,
my purpley pink
it's kind of hard to get a fan.
Reflecting off my head,
reflecting off your dome.
Yeah. The other problem is you can't really have a fan either, because otherwise it's just straight down the mic.
I mean, I was doing this earlier. I didn't know if this would affect the microphone. I'm doing it on the opposite side of the microphone.
It's fine.
Little bit, but it's not bad.
You can call me bone idle, Wookie. It's pretty much true. It's not far from the truth. I'll take it. Yeah. You can tell because I haven't posted on my YouTube channel personally for about a year. So that goes to show how far behind I am of being bone idle. Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it? That came out top. Now, I will say that I was laying the seed earlier on this season that I didn't like this episode, and I thought it was boring. And
you gave it how many points?
10. But that's because I thought G was coming on this show, and I just love to antagonize my best friend. So I was laying a seed that I was coming into this thing not liking it, and then he didn't turn up. So it was kind of wasted. I was just going to play it it's just
G would have fed into the audience score, and the audience score was 10 anyway. So.
Where's the phaser fire? Where's the spaceships? Where's the space battles? And we're just like looking through telescopes and sitting in people's front rooms and whatnot. But I didn't
It
get
is
to
a
do all
lovely
that.
story, it's got to be said.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But I just wanted to wind G up because I know it's his favourite episode. And I do love to wind G up, but didn't get to do that.
No.
Lots of payback.
And you did say earlier that, there's no enemy in this, but there is an episode of Deep Space Nine where they find like this planet that phases into existence, and it's got the descendants of the Defiant on it. And
Children of Time.
And, Children of Time. And Worf, there's like a little Klingon sect there that are his descendants. And he takes them to the harvest, and he says, time is their enemy. You must help them defeat it. And I guess in this case, that was the enemy of these people, right?
Time was the enemy.
Yep.
Time was the fire in which they burned.
Yeah, kind of a little more literally.
Literally, they completely literally.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's there! Look. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I was
he's a
saying
little
I
spy.
was setting the seeds through this season for this episode, but yeah, it completely failed. But my plan to annoy G was thrown out the window.
Brilliant.
I'm sure he'll take the mick
Gave
out of me.
it 10 out of 10 G-Star. It was the highest scoring episode of the whole season. You'll be really happy to know.
Here you go. You can see, here's a score look. There you go. Inner wins. I think pretty much wins the season. Is the highest scoring.
I like Times Arrow Part 1, but it's not going to do better than that.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. No.
Yeah,
It's good.
G-Star doesn't just think it's the best episode of this season. It's literally his favourite episode of TNG, full stop.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't tell him I gave it a 9. He might never forgive me.
Well, you can see right there. Look, it's on the TV in front of him. Look.
I mean, it was a pretty damn high score, to be fair.
But you thought cause and effect was better.
Yeah. Well, the only teeny weeny thing about this episode was just the randomness of the technology and stuff. And, I take other people's points, but yeah, it really did not make much sense. Oh, he's so angry with me. Oh no.
Sean's really turned into
little embarrassed face.
Sean's turned into the G-Star of season 5, isn't he? Because considering he's been promoting this season as like the best season of TNG that there is, he hasn't even given a 9. His top score is an 8. So,
Being stingy, John.
yeah.
Well, we've got some BD Man episodes coming up. Times Arrow Part 1 and 2. Relics with Scotty, that's great. Schisms, where they're abducted in the middle of the night. Rascals, where they're all turned into kids. A Fistful of Datas, need we say more? Chain of Command Part 1 and 2 with Jellicoe, fantastic episodes. Ship in a Bottle, where Moriarty comes back with Barclay, that's great. Birthright Part 1 and 2, we see DS9 in HD. The only official release in HD of DS9. Starship Mine, where Picard goes all Rambo trying to chase everyone down. So many good ones.
Wookie thinks this episode needed a 10 forward pie fight. That would be something.
Yeah. Oh, what's that film? Bugsy Malone?
Apologies, I just had a sneezing fit. Oh yeah, Bugsy Malone, the one with the kids and the pie fight. It's pretty cool.
I think it's also Dr. Strangelove. I think also ends in a pie fight. They probably got it from Dr. Strangelove. Anyway.
So we're going to be looking at Times Arrow next week, a double parter. It was an excellent live stream last night. Sorry, G-Star, I missed it. But if you haven't seen it so far, go back and watch G-Star's live stream last night.
It was really good. I was wrapped with attention to it because they were talking all about ghosts and things in Plymouth, and specifically it kept coming back to how many hauntings and ghosts there are in Crown Hill, which is where I live. So I was like, you're just trying to scare me. but it was very, very good. Yeah, Kevin Hines.
And
Nice guy.
as
Really
far
nice
as
guy.
we know right now, bearing in mind of what's going on with LJ, we are going to be doing the Monty Zone on Friday. So if anybody wants to come and talk to us Friday evening, we'll probably be looking back at G-Star's live interview from yesterday and some of the other content on the channel that G-Star's been producing recently, and the latest news in the paranormal, and just general chats, open mic. If anybody wants to come on and join us on camera and just chat to us about what's been going on this past month, please feel free to come and join us on Friday at 8 o'clock for the Monty Zone. Of course, keep an eye on the community tab on the channel, and if anything happens and we can't make it, we'll be posting it there that we can't come on. But at the moment, the plan is Friday night at 8 o'clock is the Monty Zone. Last month's Monty Zone, as it were. No. So yeah.
Watch that space.
Watch this space. Yes. Yeah, Wookiee's going to try to be there. But yes, we're going to hopefully, yeah, it's really nice to talk about some of the haunting things in our own neighbourhood, isn't it? And it's good. It's fun to see that chat going on. But that's it, I think, for the TNG review for this Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed that look at the Inner Light. Next week, we've got the two-parter, Time's Arrow Part 1 and 2. So it's a bumper marathon. 2 quizzes, Sean. 2 quizzes. You got to be ready.
2 quizzes.
2 quizzes.
I'll have to.
Double quiz.
12 questions and 12 whole bonuses. 24 questions you've got to frame.
We'll be there. That'll start tomorrow, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. It's still anybody's championship in the quiz. As long as your name's Tavikins or Stu Plum, probably.
Well, let's be honest. This is a data episode, so I think Tavi has.
What?
Tavikins might have this championship sewn up. Yeah. Ruth's still hoping for a third place if we tie Maz McBob's arms behind her back and Ruth wins it. There's still a possibility there. There's still a possibility. But yeah, thanks to everyone in live chat for coming and joining us this evening. Sorry I had some problems with the pictures. I don't know what the heck's going on with my Chrome browser or a StreamYard. It's being very weird. But never had that before. So anyway, thanks for bearing with us. And thank you to Supreme Panko. Thank you to Wookiee. Thank you to Stu Plum. Thank you to the G-Star for coming along. And at the beginning, we did wish LJ lots of love and hearts. So if you want to go back and watch the beginning of the show, all our thoughts are with LJ this evening. And thank you to Mr. Tavikins the Beard and everyone else that joined us.
And Ruth, Stu Plum, Panko.
Yes. Everyone. Now we will see you next Wednesday for another episode of the TNG Review Show.
Double bubble!
I am not a crook.
He is a crook.